Good day, Israel. Good day, all those that are tuning in here to this video. Here, very, very important, powerful message. Here, I have a brief testimony. Yesterday, I woke up on September 11th, 9/11, and my Facebook account was suspended. And I cried out to the Father, and I was able to get my account restored here. And so I'm thankful and grateful to be here today, to be connected with you all, to be able to share the word here, share the Basora, the good news of the Most High's plan of salvation here for his chosen seed and also for the world here. So I want to give all praise to the Most High, grateful for the Roke Hokadex here. Also grateful for all those that have been participating here to our awakening. I want to send a prayer out there for all those that are hurting, all those that are suffering, all those that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. For yours is the kingdom of heaven. He who endures to the end shall be saved here. So I'm asking for the Father to outpour his spirit here upon his people here to prepare us for what is and what will be and what is to come here. I'm grateful for your namesake here. So very thankful and very grateful to be here today here. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you follow all my social media pages. Make sure you download all my posts, share and repost my posts here, and make this information go viral here. I also want to say before we get started, I'm narrating myself as always. We have a lot to cover here in this video, a lot of scripture, so make sure you take a lot of notes there. Also, I'm not able to read the comments while I am live here, but I do get a chance to check it afterwards. But make sure you engage and like and share and repost. That way we could break these algorithms here and make more visibility, with Facebook here. And so today, many topics we're going to discuss here today. Make sure you have your Bibles out, your scriptures, Torah, Tanakh, apocrypha books, and take a lot of notes here. So the main topic is the second exodus of Jacob here. And with that, we're going to talk about what does salvation mean and entail. And also we're going to answer the question that many people have is that can the Gentiles be saved here? So we're going to go over a lot of scriptures here, and I'm going to get started right off the top. If you haven't done so already, make sure you turn on notifications when I go live. Also, make sure you study my timeline there. And Facebook removed many videos, so I have over 30 videos on my YouTube channel. So make sure you read the actual post descriptions and check my Facebook timeline for the link to my YouTube pages there. And so my recent videos have been focusing on the how the Hebrew scriptures have been tampered with, how Satan deceived the world, deceptions of religions and their replacement theologies. And so since scriptures are multidimensional, because of the many layers of deceptions, I'm not able to address all layers in an individual video here. However, I urge you all to check my YouTube channel as Facebook removed many videos. You must watch all videos to come into all truths here, as we have much advanced now, and I can't duplicate my works here. So be sure to check out my Facebook timeline to direct to my YouTube channel links where I have the most videos now on social media, over 30 videos there. I also want to emphasize the need for you to always think multidisciplinary and also multidimensional when it comes to all scriptures there. So think symbolism, precepts, ordinance, judgment, statutes, Torah, the covenant. Think allegories and parables, hidden and revealed knowledge there. Think pre-written real human history there. Think about sciences, movement of heavenly objects such as star constellations and the sun. Think biology, chemistry, human anatomy, physics, mathematics, numerology, the sciences of the brain and consciousness and pineal gland there. Think about spiritual and physical manifestations of what occurred in the spirit, because everything first starts in spirit before it takes material material form. And so know that your body is the temple of the Most High, and your Elohim is a consuming fire and the Father of light there. So think about your physical body and also your light body, your soul. Think about the politics and the governance of scriptures there. Think about how the Most High planned the end from the beginning, and we're just living the script called Hebrew Scriptures. So always think about how the earth was given to the wicked and how Satan was cast to the earth with 1/3 of the angels, along with Azazel and his hosts who came upon Mount Hermon, the fallen angels and the rebellious ones there. So always think about how the word of the Most High is rejected and despised and tampered with. So you must train yourself to study line upon line, precept upon precept, through the lenses of the Hebrew covenant, and out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses the word is revealed. So study to show approved there, and beware of all false prophets and doctrines of man and doctrines of the fallen angels and the ways of the Gentiles. And I want to add here that the Bible as presented today is a pure moral book of politics and governments there. There are some spiritual teachings, but it's void of canon because here in the time of the Gentiles, it's not meant for the Gentiles to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven and earth. And those secret hidden teachings will be restored to Jacob when the priesthood is restored in the days to come. And so we'll also get new names and remove all traces of mystery Babylon there. So don't reject the word of the Most High. Understand that everything has a time and a season, and we're coming out of the season of Jacob's trouble, which meant deep sleep there and the tampering of scriptures. And we're in the times of the resurrection of the dead and the restoration of the nation of Jacob here. And so in Ezekiel chapter 37, here verse 9, and then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Yahuwah Elohim, come forth from the 4 winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain that they may live. And so I prophesied that he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet an exceedingly great army. Then he said unto me, son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Yahuwah Elohim, behold, O my people, I will open up your graves and cause you to come out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel, and you shall know that I am the Yahuwah, which have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I, the Yahuwah, have spoken it and performed it, saith the Yahuwah here. And so we're going to tie into Matthew chapter 24. As always, I see the Bible scriptures as a puzzle book. So I put the pieces together and let the word kind of speak for itself. So that's why you'll hear me rolling from one scripture to another scripture as these things tie into each other here. So Matthew chapter 24 and verse 24, for lo, shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcasses is, there will the eagles be gathered together. So let's talk about the Ezekiel chapter 37, dry bones of Jacob there. And so, the eagles, you're looking at eagle nations. This is signaling to America, where we have the dry bones, the chosen seed under bondage here to the daughter of Babylon here. And so Matthew chapter 24, verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with glory and great power. And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to another. And so, in full disclosures here, Amos chapter 3, verse 7, surely the Yahuwah Elohim will do nothing unless he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets, there. And so everything I present is always rooted in Hebrew scriptures. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm here to teach you the word of the Most High Yah. And it may be foreign to what you've been taught, but trust me, it's the truths that shall set us free. I provide many references, so make sure you take a lot of notes and study often there. And so the end is near, and you don't have much time for those with eyes to see. And I'm here to turn the hearts of the children to the Father in obedience to his ways, lest the Most High sends a curse to the earth to consume all sinners there. So take lots of notes, share and repost, and interact with posts to break the algorithms to go viral there. Like if I get 1,000 views, I should have 800 or so likes, or even don't like it there, but at least do some type of interaction with the post to break the algorithms, so these posts go viral and be pushed out on throughout the platform. So like, comment, share, repost, engage. Thank you for all those who do all the above there. And I am the Hamashiach of Jacob, called Israel, the son of the highest Elohim. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get right into it. Make sure you follow my pages and tell everyone that we're live here. We'll be live for a few, and make sure you turn on Facebook notifications when I go live. And thanks for tuning in here today. And so religions represent the doctrines of man, but behind those doctrines of man are the doctrines of the fallen angels and Satan, and all are in rebellion against the Most High and his covenant with Jacob. And what's hidden must be revealed as we are living the times of revelations. And what must be revealed is Satan and the fallen angels are the hidden gods behind all world religions, including Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Catholicism, Egyptology, Freemasons, Masonry, Eastern Stars, secret societies, Greek letter organizations, hiding under many names such as Yahweh, Jesus, Allah, Enki, Enlil, Marduk, Zeus, Serapis, Shiva, Mithra, Isis, Horus, Osiris, Amen-Ra, Saturn, the All-Seeing Eye, etc., etc. And so the Most High gave the Gentiles, Satan, and the fallen angels as their gods, and the Most High alone dealt with Jacob. And when the Most High turned his back on Jacob, it's also like turning his back on the world. This is called the times of the Gentiles, where all the truths were hidden and removed from scriptures until the last days here. So break the spells and let's let go of all the false teachings and allow scriptures to interpret themselves. And that's why you'll always see me use lots of scriptures, so you hear the word of God over what man has to say. Let the word speak for itself, free from all contamination, pollution, and exploitation there. And if you study closely, you'll see how all institutionalized form of worship, all worship Satan and the fallen angels. Yes, even the black church there. This confirms when scriptures state the earth was given to the wicked until Hamashiach came in the last days to redeem Jacob, establish the kingdom of heaven on the earth here, and then the powers of heaven will be shaken there. And so one thing I want to clear up and distinguish is that we have been lied to regarding the topic of salvation. What salvation is, who salvation is for, who needs to be saved, etc., etc. And the root basis of all the lies taught about salvation is the topic of replacement theology by the Gentiles. And salvation in end times goes hand in hand. And this replacement theology has led many people to believe that you must go through the Gentiles in order to be saved. And the Gentiles are head over all religions. There, study ancient Babylon, Sumer, Egypt, Greece, Rome as some examples. Study the unholy trinity of Jacob Frank, Adam Weishaupt, and the Rothschilds there. Study Albert Pike and the Middle East agenda of the Arabs and the Jews to bring about a new world order in World War III. Study the satanic and Luciferian and Baphomet agenda. The many Bible councils, such as the Council of Nicaea, and how the Bible came to be produced in English from Greek and Latin, taking Hebrew scriptures and writing our story in their own words there. Enoch chapter 104, verses 10 through 14. Second Baruch chapter 39. Second Baruch chapter 70. First Maccabees chapter 3 verse 48, and Daniel's chapter 2 through 12, just has some references here. So pagan Rome became papal Rome. The beast had a wound and did live and subdued the earth, and all roads of government and religions lead back to Rome. Mystery Babylon. Revelation chapter 17 through 19 is about Rome. America is daughter Babylon, and Israel is their pet project of false prophets and imposters there. So because of the incorrect interpretations of the New Testament books, many people are misled regarding the topic of salvation. And this has led many Israelites to feel that they must partake in the ways of Gentiles in order to be saved, such as religions, secret societies, their institutions and initiations, their rituals, their ceremonies, their covenants, worships, baptisms, churches, etc. And when in reality, the Most High cannot be found in those places. So scriptures are very clear all throughout the canon of scriptures that salvation is for Israel. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 15. Verily thou art an Elohim that hideth thyself, O Elohim of Israel, thy Savior. They shall not be ashamed also or confounded, all of them. They shall go to confusion together that are makers of idols. But Israel shall be saved in the Yahuwah with the everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. And 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. And so I want you to hold these scriptures in mind as they reveal the underlying theme of all scriptures in both the so-called testaments, and that's salvation for Jacob, Israel. That's the main focus of all scriptures. Now, it doesn't mean that the Gentiles cannot be saved. For those focusing on this, I think you're missing the point on what salvation is. And what the world has been teaching us is that the Messiah will return for his second coming, to take away the bride, to rapture his chosen to heaven for a millennial reign, and return and destroy the earth by fire, while the elect dwell in heaven with the Messiah for eternity. Some even teach that after the 7-year tribulations that the earth will be destroyed, and then comes a new heaven and a new earth, physically. And so, and I did many in-depth videos on the topic of salvation and many more topics. So I'm directing you to my YouTube channel, where I get extensively involved in these topics and others. And I want you to notice here in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9, it says, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the world that follows. And so the Gentiles want you to think the world is going to be destroyed after the tribulations. So they sell you a heaven in the spirit after death, and they tell you nothing about the heaven that's right here on the earth. So you live earth as good slaves and never seek to overthrow your oppression, because you're so focused on what Paul taught over what the Torah and Hamashiach taught. And here in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9, it reveals that Jacob is the world that follows, meaning the earth is not going to be destroyed there. Esau's world is ending, and Jacob's world is being restored there. So you're going to see in simple words, you're going to see sub-Sahara be renewed and established there, and you're going to see the Western world and all over Asia, they're going to be destroyed there, and that's the end of the world there. That's the deceptions of the Gentiles and their religions. They blind you from all truths there. But what I want to do here is touch upon the topic of salvation, addressing another hidden topic of scriptures, and that is the second exodus of Jacob. In fact, the Old Testament can be seen as the first exodus of Jacob, and the New Testament can be seen as the second exodus of Jacob, if that helps, even though there's many second exodus scriptures in the Old Testament. And so the Most High is a consuming fire, and he is a potter who throws the clay in the furnaces of Babylon and Egypt. And out of Egypt, he calls his son. So in reality, the entire Bible is about exodus, dispersals, captivities, oppressions, Jacob's trouble, and regathering there, establish a nation of righteous remnants from the trials and tribulations of Satan there, who's the God behind the Gentiles. And so the Most High is looking for a perfect lamb there. That was the story with Cain and Abel there, one that will follow his laws and commandments and his ways, and your invitation and initiation is in the fires there. That's where he takes his harvest of righteous. So study the book of Job and also the story of Joseph, how he was sold in slavery and then he rose to be, king of the earth, basically, there. And the world hides this with their replacement theology and false teachings such as the rapture there. So I know I must always be careful with my words, and so I'll say this. I recently did a few part video series addressing the deceptions in the New Testament books by the Gentiles and their replacement theology. And I must clarify for all those who hang upon what's presented in one video rather than the host of my videos, because each serves as a focus, but all must be studied to bring a complete picture there. So just because I quote-unquote attack the New Testament books, it doesn't mean I was teaching you to reject the New Testament there. More or less, I was teaching you how to read the New Testament. And just as I did videos exposing replacement theology of Gentiles, it doesn't mean you should reject all Gentiles who follow the Most High ways there, just because they're Gentiles. So in the New Testament books, you must be trained how to read and interpret them, just as the topic of salvation regarding the Gentiles. We must train ourselves how to interpret this, because the world has inherited lies and vanity there. So train yourself how to read and study Paul's writings through the lenses of the Torah and the Hamashiach, and not based on the tampering of scriptures by the Gentiles there. And don't forget the Torah and the apocrypha books, which break the seals on the New Testament writings, especially Paul's book and the book of Revelations there. And just because Revelations is the end book and the canon of the New Testament, it doesn't mean that it is the end all be all say of the end time prophecies. And so the fact is, Yahusha came to fulfill the Torah. So even though the books from Matthew to Revelations are labeled New Testament, it doesn't represent a new covenant being established with Gentiles or even with Israel at that time. The new covenant comes in the wilderness after Jacob departs from their captivity, the final captivity here, and the new covenant is established or renewed with Jacob there. So when you're reading books labeled New Testament, you must see those writings as a continuation of what's labeled the Old Testament, which is based upon a covenant called the Torah. And don't forget, the Torah comes with blessings and curses there. And don't forget about the apocrypha books. This is key to understand. And where am I going with this? You cannot understand the book of Revelations without reading and studying Revelations through the lenses and point of view of the Torah and the covenant the Most High established with Jacob there. And so let's go right to the end to make clear the beginning. The end of Esau is the beginning of Jacob. Esau represents lawlessness and corruption there and oppression. Jacob represents righteousness and the Torah. And we have reached the end of this age and the beginning of the age that follows there. And so Revelation chapter 21, verse 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there were no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Elohim is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And Elohim himself will be with them and be their Elohim. And Elohim shall wipe away all their tears of their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write for these words, for they are true and faithful there. And so verse 9 here, it says, And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. And so he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Elohim, having the glory of Elohim, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a great wall and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written therein, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel here. And so what I want you to take notice here in Revelation chapter 21 is a vision of the throne of heaven coming down to earth. New Jerusalem will descend from heaven to earth, and this will occur over sub-Sahara Africa. So yes, heaven is coming to the earth as the Most High is establishing his government over the earth through Jacob and the Hamashiach there. And when you read Revelation chapter 7, you'll see that 144,000 or 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Jacob there. Revelation chapter 12, the woman that the dragon goes after and the woman that goes into the wilderness for 3.5 years is the seed of Jacob there. Revelation chapter 14 is a vision of the 144,000 on the mothership with the Hamashiach, which is also revealed in 2nd Ezra chapter 2 and 2nd Ezra chapter 13. And here in Revelation chapter 21, New Jerusalem has 12 gates, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. So the Bible begins with Jacob and it also ends with Jacob there. That's very important to understand. And Jacob had a covenant with the Most High that can't be replaced. The Most High is our Father, and heaven and earth are our inheritance and birthrights as his children whom he created the world for. And now NASA is telling you that black extraterrestrials are returning on UFOs. And so where am I going with this? When you discuss the topic of salvation, when it comes to salvation of Gentiles comes through Jacob there. All forms of salvation will come through Jacob in the Torah, which means all forms of salvation comes through the Torah and the covenant. And I'll discuss Jacob's judgments and salvation later in this video. But I get a lot of questions about can Gentiles be saved? And the answer is yes. But there is a condition. Gentiles are an enemy of the Most High, but he's not a respecter of persons to those that follow his ways, which is Torah and not Judaism or other religions there. And we know here from Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 7, the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way or here. And so Joel chapter 3 verse 1, for behold, in these days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all nations and will bring them into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. So we are actually the inheritance of the Most High there in verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Ye, and what ye have to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine, ye will render me a recompense, and if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them, and I will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for the Yahuwah has spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say that I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones of the earth to come down, O Yahuwah. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. The sun and moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Yahuwah also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heaven and the earth shall shake. But the Yahuwah will be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Israel. There. And so the short matter of salvation for Gentiles is that the Gentiles must go through Jacob, which means Gentiles must go through the Torah covenant in order to be saved and grafted into Israel. And I'll use Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1 through 7 as a reference guide there. And so Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, all these things have to come upon you, the blessings and the curses which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind amongst all the nations, whether the Yahuwah thy Elohim have driven thee, and shall return unto the Yahuwah thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Yahuwah thy Elohim has scattered thee. And so we're currently in the time of the Gentiles, there, which started after the death of Hamashiach there some 2,000 years ago, and the times of the Gentiles are coming to an end in this fulfillment. But since we're in the time of the Gentiles, this means the Gentiles are receiving the blessings of Deuteronomy chapter 28 right now here unknowingly, while Jacob is receiving the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we weren't aware of this, and now we've been coming into this knowledge here. So let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 7. The Most High here says that the blessings must come upon you, and then the curses come upon you. And then while you're in the curses, while you're in the tribulations, while you're in the fires, and know our Elohim is a consuming fire, if you turn to the Most High and obey his laws and commandments, and don't take the marks of the beast, then the Most High will gather you and remove the curses and give you his salvation. So the precept here is that you cannot go from blessings to blessings without experiencing the curses there. And so 2nd Ezra chapter 7, 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 2. And he said unto me, Up, Ezra, and hear the words that I come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my Elohim. Then say he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place that it might be deep and great. But put the case the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then can go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how can he come into the broad? There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and it is full of good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if it were a fire on the right side, and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there can be one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, and if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, It is so, Yahuwah. Then he said unto me, Even so also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, there was decreed that now it is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder word were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that labor now to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those things that are laid up for them. So if you read 2nd Ezra chapter 7 through 9, which describes going through the danger and the fires and the oppression in order to inherit the promises of the Father. This kind of ties into Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 7. You must receive the testimony of Yahusha, which is the baptism of fire, a.k.a. Jacob's trouble. You must experience the tribulations in order to be saved there. And this is Revelation chapter 13, Daniel chapter 2 through 12. We are in the 10 toes of the feet of the statue of Nebuchadnezzar. In 2nd Ezra chapter 11 through 5, there, where Rome, Mystery Babylon, is the center head. That's why you saw the Pope die on his bed, as the scripture said. And America is daughter of Babylon. There, you see a play here with Donald Trump here with America. They're kind of like the morning vision and the evening vision in Daniel there, where you have, Alexander the Great, when he came in and he conquered, and his kingdom was divided into three people there. So you have kind of like something similar to that that's setting up in these last days here, according to Daniel there, chapter 8 through 11 there. And so and even when the Gentiles are saved, they are not elevated above Jacob there. That hence the 12 gates are for the 12 tribes of Israel, meaning that and Hamashiach is the door of the sheepfold there. And so we all have roles to play in the kingdom. And just as Jacob went through the blessings, then the curses, which he's in right now, in order to receive the eternal blessings and promises, the Gentiles must follow the same order in order to be saved there. So just as Jacob lost 2/3 and has a righteous remnant to be saved, so too the Gentiles during the tribulations will lose 2/3 to produce a righteous remnant to be saved and cleave unto Jacob. And this is a message I want to emphasize for Gentiles. You must know what to expect. The same as Jacob must know what to expect, and the heathen Israelites also must know what to expect. And all followers of the Most High must come and stand together as one brotherhood and sisterhood, as one family, especially now that we reach the end where Esau is fighting to stay in power there. So he's trying to keep Israelites from awakening and coming together as one. And he's also trying to keep Israelites divided from the Gentiles there. That's Esau's biggest fears, is for the Gentiles to join to Jacob against Esau there. But that's what scriptures declare. Will you stand on the word of the Most High or continue to live in fears and racism there? And so the book of Enoch here, Enoch chapter, because this is chapter XLV. You can figure that out because I don't have time to figure that out right now. But Enoch chapter XLV. And this is the second parable concerning those who deny the name of the dwelling of the holy ones and the Yahuwah spirits. And into the heaven they shall not ascend, and on the earth they shall not come. Such shall be the lot of sinners who have denied the name of the Yahuwah spirits, who are thus preserved for the day of suffering and tribulation. On that day mine elect ones shall sit on the throne of glory, and shall try their works, and their places of rest shall be innumerable. And their souls shall grow strong within them when they see my elect ones, and those who have called upon my glorious name. Then I will cause my elect one to dwell among them, and I will transform the heaven and make it an eternal blessing and light. And I will transform the earth and make it a blessing. So the earth is being transformed. It's not being destroyed right now there. And I will cause my elect ones to dwell upon it. But the sinners and evildoers shall not set foot thereon. For I have provided and satisfied with peace my righteous ones, and have caused them to dwell before me. But for the sinners there is judgment impeding with me, so that I shall destroy them from the face of the earth there. And so Enoch here, chapter L-I there. And in those days shall the earth give also back that which it has entrusted to it, and Sheol also shall give back that which it has received, and he shall give back, and hell shall give back that which it owes. For in those days the elect one shall arise, and he shall choose the righteous and the holy from among them. And for that day has drawn nigh that they shall be saved. And the elect one shall in those days sit on my throne, and his mouth shall pour right forth all the secrets of wisdom and counsel. For the Yahuwah spirits have given them to him and have glorified him. And so we see how that, this is the job of the Hamashiach there to, and so Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 14, take heaven and earth to witness, for I have broken the evil in pieces and created the good, for I live, saith the Yahuwah. Mother, embrace thy children and bring them up to gladness. Make their feet as fast as a pillar, for I have chosen thee, saith the Yahuwah. And those that be dead will I raise up again from their places and bring them out of their graves, for I have known my name in Israel there. And so the reality is the Most High is coming to remove all sinners from the earth, but he must first resurrect his chosen seed physically and spiritually. And there's a great separation that's coming. Righteous Israelites will be separated from heathen Israelites. The same as righteous Gentiles who follow the Most High ways are being separated from the heathen Gentiles there. And all must separate from Esau and Ishmael, because they are being used here in these end times as tools of destruction and judgment here. And so Gentiles must endure, and this is why Esau is behind the Noahide laws, and Ishmael is behind the Sharia laws there, which are taking over all world governments there. And so Gentiles must endure the fires and maintain a set-apart body of Hamashiach, free from all Gentile ways there, the ways of your forefathers. And prepare yourself now for the tribulations. Start organizing, start planning, start strategizing how to live off the grid and not dependent on society. There, learn how to read maps, learn how to, cleanse water and things of that nature. Learn nature. Watch those Left Behind movies. There, it will be a horrible time on the earth. And even when seeking the word, Gentiles must go through Jacob, because the Most High doesn't use Gentiles. There, read Romans chapter 9, verse 4. So I want to be clear about this message about salvation and the way Gentiles can be saved and grafted into Jacob. And I'll touch more on this as we speak, but if you read New Testament writings, the Hamashiach said he was only sent to Israel, and so the covenant people are my main focus. But I want to leave Gentiles, especially those Europeans, a major warning here. And so scriptures are 100% clear. There is no salvation for Esau. The Most High is removing his seed from the earth. If you read Malachi, Obadiah, Enoch. And just because you share the same skin color as Esau, don't allow Esau to drag you into a race war against Jacob. And don't allow the disease of white supremacy to cloud your judgments, your character, your ethics, and your walk with the Most High. Be aware of the occult psyops, sacrificial killings that make news and media from central casts and puppets of Babylon there. Also, this is the time when you cannot be silent there. The time for silence is over. And this is why I wrote a whole series called Silence Speaks. You must stand against Esau and stand for Jacob there. Stand against all injustices. Use your white privilege to bless Jacob, as the Most High blesses those that bless us and curses those that curse us. So be aware, the enemy is Esau. Esau hates Japheth and he hates Jacob the most. But Esau hates everyone that's not his pure bloodline, even though Esau mixed with the nations and many share his blood there. That's why there's two heads of white supremacy in the world, European nations versus the Jews there. And then you have the black boule, which submits to both of them. This is all your black church, your black organizations such as Black Lives Matters, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, Candace Owens, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Beyonce, the Nation of Islam, Greek letter organizations, Prince Hall, Freemasons, Eastern Stars, Black Moors, My Brother's Keeper, Obama. All black organizations were started by Zionist Jews. So think about that. And caution all those Israelite camps, especially the ones that are not using the proper Hebrew names there. And never forget, Esau knows he cannot be saved, and the Most High hates him. Esau also seeks to always to destroy Jacob by blood and much oppression. So the time for silence and inaction is over. Also, Esau, the distinction here between Esau, the salvation he's trying to offer to the world, versus what the Most High is offering to the world, is that the Most High is coming with a pure form of spirituality there, where you can experience a true extension of the soul. Whereas Esau is trying to merge the human with technology, transhumanism, because Esau lacks the ability to naturally give birth to the soul there. So he needs to use technology in order to do so there. And so this is the split that's going on in the world there. And so this is the time where for silence and inaction is over. The time to stand as one, as all followers of Yahusha Hamashiach and the Most High. And you can make a huge impact by showing the world that you stand on truths, even when it's for black folks there. You stood for Palestine. Will you stand for Congo and the Sudan and Kenya and South Africa and all sub-Sahara Africa? Or will you remain silent because their skin is not as white as yours and not as pale as those Palestine people? And so you must be different, and you must take a stand against all all injustices, especially against the holy people. The same way the world stands for false Israel in Palestine is the same way the world must stand for the true biblical seed of Jacob there. The world raged into mass protests and demonstrations for Palestine and did nothing for the Congo and the Sudan, where tens of millions of people are being killed, raped, displaced, and all the mass famines in the lands, and all to steal and exploit their natural resources for advanced technologies there. And so why are you so silent and still think your silence will be able to save you there? And so you're blessing the wrong people and cursing the wrong peoples. And if you can't love your brother who you can see with your own eyes, how can you love our Father, his Hamashiach, who are all what we call black folks there? So solve the problem of the color lines with the word of Yah and his Hamashiach, the Torah, because there's no stopping the rise of Jacob and the return of the ancient ones. The revolution won't be televised, but it's here. The kingdom of heaven is upon you. It's literally at your doorsteps. So let's talk about what salvation is, because Rome made salvation a fairy tale pagan story mixed with scriptures and Hollywood. And this is why few can actually visualize and understand end times and the kingdom of heaven, and not even the church and those pastors or even masons can comprehend end times because the Most High never dealt with them. And so divine truths is another way to distinguish a true prophet that's taught directly from the Most High and not from man there. And so I did a full in-depth video on this, so make sure you check my YouTube channel. But what I say here is that the topic of salvation, there are two main focuses there. Salvation from our enemies that oppress us, and salvation of our soul from sin and death. I'm going to repeat that. When you look at salvation, there's two main focuses. Salvation from our enemies that oppress us, and salvation of our soul from sin and from death. And the salvation of our soul from sin cannot be fully addressed and acquired until we first obtain salvation from our enemies that oppress us. And so, in other words, the first form of salvation is for our nation to be restored, free from all oppression. And once this happens, then we can return to true worship of the Father, free from pollution of Gentile ways. And we can focus on salvation of our soul as our priesthood is restored at that time. This is the underlying theme behind end time prophecies. This is why all eyes are on sub-Sahara Africa as the next superpower, replacing the New World Order. But what happens is when Rome rose to power, they incorporated paganism and mythologies into the message of salvation. So when you think about this and how it places the topic of salvation in its proper perspective, it would clarify what salvation is, and this clarification will reveal who salvation is for and why all scriptures speak of the focus on Jacob being saved rather than the focus of a message of salvation for the world, aka the Gentiles, and why the Bible took Bantu and Hebrew scriptures and made you think it was for the world with all their replacement theology and repackaging and tampering. And the Most High is not a respecter of persons, and that he wishes that we should not perish, but that we should repent, observe, and follow his ways in obedience. And so Jacob was to be a light to the Gentiles, and the Hamashiach to be the Most High salvation to the ends of the earth. So if a Gentile were to follow the Most High ways, you could be joined to Jacob and enter the kingdom of heaven, which is being established on the earth, even if you are Asian or Korean or Mexican, Latino, Hispanic, European, etc., etc. There. And so Isaiah chapter 14 verse 1, for the Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Yahuwah for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So Isaiah chapter 14 is describing the first form of salvation, which is for Jacob to be restored in his own land to rule over the earth. And this is why scriptures are clear in that salvation is for Jacob, because the Most High is coming to establish Jacob to rule over the earth, and all from sub-Sahara Africa, the lands of our origins and the promised land. So the Most High is coming to fulfill his covenant with his chosen seed and their lands, which is sub-Sahara Africa, the richest lands on the earth. And this is why the focus of the topic of salvation cannot be the Gentiles, because the Gentiles will not possess our lands. In fact, scriptures reveal every man will return to his own lands there. And if you read Jubilees chapter 6 through 9, it reveals the inheritance of the children of Noah and their lands there. Japheth had the cold, which is Europe. Ham had the hottest part of Africa, which is all North Africa above the Sahara. And Shem had everything below the Sahara, the richest lands on the earth. And if the world stopped exploiting sub-Sahara, they would all enter into third world country statuses there. All Asia, all Western Europe, all the Western world, all the Middle East, all of North Africa there. So that's basically the end of the world, for that 6 there. And that's why the Gentiles said that sold you the lie that earth will be destroyed and will be raptured to heaven to live with the Messiah forever. They don't want you to know that heaven is coming to the earth there, because then you'll fight now for your birthrights rather than waiting until you die there. And you'll stop turning a blind eye and turning the other cheek and stop turning a blind eye to sub-Sahara Africa and its people because they're black or in the continent of Africa there. What happens to sub-Sahara Africa affects the entire world there because it's the lands of our origins and the lands of our final destinations there. And so Isaiah chapter 14, verse 2, it expands upon the first focus of salvation, which is for Jacob to be restored as a living nation. And so it also expands upon what salvation means for Jacob and also for the Gentiles. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 2, Isaiah chapter 14, verse 2 says that a people shall be joined to Jacob, which shall which shall possess them as handmaids and for servants there. This is what Revelation chapter 13, he that led into captivity shall go into captivity, because Jacob was created to rule over all the seed of Adam and all over the earth there. And so Jubilees chapter 26, verse 23. And may Yahuwah give you the dew of heaven and the dew of the earth and plenty of corn and oil. Let nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be ruler over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. And may all the blessings wherewith Yahuwah had blessed me and blessed Abraham, my father, be imparted to you and to your seed forever. Cursed be he that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you there. And so if you study all the Gentile nations, the seed of Japheth had a hand in the oppression and captivity of Jacob. The seed of Ham had a hand in oppression and captivity of Jacob. Ishmael had a hand in the oppression and captivity of Jacob and exploitation of their lands. The Europeans, the Hamite Africans, the Asians, they all had a hand in the oppression and captivity of Jacob, even still today. In short, all Gentile nations has a hand in the oppression and captivity of Jacob, and all their seed and children have benefited from the oppression and captivity of Jacob and our curses of deep sleep there. And so Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1, for the Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob and will choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of the Yahuwah, the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Yahuwah for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Jubilees chapter 1. Jubilees chapter 1, verse 13. And I will hide my face from them, and I will deliver them into the hand of the Gentiles for captivity and for a prey and for devouring. And I will remove them from the midst of the land, and I will scatter them amongst the Gentiles there. And so Second Ezra chapter 11. 2 Ezra chapter 11, verse 37. And I beheld, and lo, as if it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remaineth of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And so the Gentiles were used to bring Jacob into captivity, and fulfill Torah, and they were used by the Most High because the Most High never dealt with them and gave them Satan and the fallen angels as gods. So the Gentiles were created to fulfill evil and lawlessness on the earth and corruption. And never forget, Scripture state the earth was given to the hands of the wicked. So if you check who's ruling right now, you'll see it's Esau and the Gentiles there. This explains their spiritual essence is natural lawlessness and evil because the light and righteousness of the Father was not in them. They have the breath of life, but they lack the heroic Hokodex there. And so Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 25, the Yahuwah shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And so the Most High declares that the Gentiles are our enemies, and it was our enemies the Most High used to punish us for breaking his laws and commandments. This is why Gentile replacement theology can never hold and reveal truths. Gentile replacement theology seeks to remove, hide, suppress the truths, and all while blinding you to with gifts of prosperity and feeding your ego and your pride. Their low vibrational lawless energy of the self, focusing on the material and physical things, and never the spirit. Keep you chasing money and the American dream there. And so the Gentiles are the enemies of the Most High, and the Gentiles were behind the Tower of Babel, rebellion against the Most High. The Gentiles are behind the tampering with the scriptures. And just as Jacob was punished for the sins of our forefathers, so too the Gentiles will be punished for the sins of their forefathers there. And so Deuteronomy chapter 30, 1 through 7. And it shall come to pass when all these things come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind amongst all the nations, whether the Yahuwah thy Elohim have driven thee, and shall return unto the Yahuwah thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Yahuwah thy Elohim have scattered thee. And if any thine be driven out unto the outermost ports of heaven, from thence will the Yahuwah thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Yahuwah thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Yahuwah thy Elohim will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Yahuwah thy Elohim with thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And the Yahuwah thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thy enemies, meaning the Gentiles, and on them that hate thee, Esau, which persecuted thee, Ishmael. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Yahuwah, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And so scriptures are written that salvation is for Jacob because the Most High established a covenant with his seed. And when Jacob turns to the Father, aka Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 7, it says the Most High will put our curses on our enemies, and then those that hate us and persecute us. And that is the Gentiles there. That is Esau. That is Ishmael. That is all the nations here on the earth. Here, and I have to take a quick restroom break. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back with you momentarily. Thanks for tuning in here. I'm just gonna pick up right where we left off here, and so we're talking about here. Let's go to Second Ezra chapter 15. Second Ezra chapter 15. I'm gonna start in verse 20. Behold, saith Elohim, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Libanians, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they have done this day, yet unto my chosen, so will I do also in recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Elohim. My right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. The fire is gone from his wrath, and have consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Yahuwah. I will not spare them. Go your way, you children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. For the Yahuwah knoweth all of them that sin against him, and therefore deliver he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and you shall remain in them. For Elohim shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. There. And so let's go here to the book of Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 51. Isaiah chapter 51, verse 22. Thus saith the Yahuwah thy Elohim, and thy Elohim that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thy hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no drink it no again. But I will put it in the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, that we may go over, and that has led thy body as the ground and as the street to them that went over there. And so Isaiah chapter 66, Isaiah chapter 66, verse 16. For by fire and by his sword will the Yahuwah plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Yahuwah shall be many. There. Zechariah chapter 5, Zechariah chapter 5, verse 4. And I will bring it forth, saith the Yahuwah of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof, and the stones thereof. There. And lastly, we'll go to Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. Daniel chapter 12. And at that time, Michael shall stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. And so the Gentiles, are going to have to endure the tribulations just as Jacob. And this is Revelations chapter 13 there. So all the Revelations prophecies already hit Jacob, and now it's going to hit the Gentile world there. And that's the tribulations that's coming. Jacob will receive the blessings of the covenant, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 15. And the Gentiles will receive the curses of the covenant, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68 there, which also represents the tribulations that's coming because Jacob is already and still in Jacob's trouble, the tribulations, experiencing the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28 over long continuance and the prophecies of the judgment in the book of Revelations. Jacob is at the end of Daniel's 70 weeks. Jacob has fulfilled his punishments, which is why the Hamashiach is on the scene, bringing salvation to Jacob and judgment to the Gentiles. And even though Gentiles are in judgments, the Most High witnesses are Jacob, Judah, and Israel. So the Most High leaves some of his witnesses to be a light to the Gentiles during the tribulations there. And so Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1. The spirit of the Yahuwah Elohim is upon me, because the Yahuwah has anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Yahuwah and the day of vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all that mourn there. And so let's go here to Jeremiah chapter 30 here. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Yahuwah, saying, Thus speaketh the Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, saying, Write all these words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith the Yahuwah, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Yahuwah, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. So let's talk about the second Exodus there. And these are the words that the Yahuwah spoke concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Yahuwah, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loin, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that it is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Yahuwah of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bounds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve the Yahuwah their Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O Jacob my servant, saith the Yahuwah, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Yahuwah, to save thee. Though I make an end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee, yet I will not make a full end of thee. But I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee together or altogether unpunished. There. And so this is also given a reference to what Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said after they're done in Palestine, next is sub-Sahara Africa there. And we also know the wilderness in sub-Sahara Africa is going to be the only protected location that the Most High is going to protect in these end times there. And so second Baruch chapter 72. Second Baruch chapter 72. After the signs which I have spoken to you before, when the nations are moved and the time of my anointed one comes, he will call all nations, and some of them he will spare, and others he will kill. These things which will befall the nations which will be spared by him. Every nation which has not known Israel, and which has not trodden down the seed of Jacob, will live. And this is because some from all the nations have been subjected to your people. There. So that's even confirming Isaiah chapter 14. Some are going to serve as servants and handmaids, the Gentiles that are going to be saved there. And all those who now have ruled over you or have known you will be delivered up to the sword there. And so salvation comes first to Jacob and then to Gentiles. Jacob comes out of tribulations and curses, while Gentiles enter into tribulations and curses. And what Gentiles need to be aware of is that your tribulations will only be 3 years and 7 months, according to Daniel chapter 12, verse 12, 1,335 days there. While Jacob has been in tribulations for thousands of years there, over 2,000 years since the death of Hamashiach and destruction of Jerusalem and dispersal of the people. And some could even argue for 5,500 years there, referencing the apocalypse of Adam and Eve there, or the lost books of Adam and Eve, since the times of Babylon and Genesis, Jubilees and Jasher there. So we paid in full through our suffering and oppressions and dispersals there, through all the continents throughout the earth there. And while dispersed, Jacob built many nations on the earth while being chased by the beast, the dragon, conquering and whitewashing history all over the world. This was Jacob's trouble that followed Jacob all over the continent of Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, the Americas, etc. Century after century, 4 centuries, and since the death of Hamashiach over 2,000 years ago. And for our final captivity, it followed us to the Western world, where the dragon nations of Esau and the Asians came to steal the lands from us. South America and North America, America and Canada, there, and it's in the early 1400s, and that's why Christopher Columbus came to America, and then the Jews and the Europeans followed for Jacob's final 400-year captivity. That's the hidden history that they don't teach you there. So Jacob's the creation of America in 1776 by the Masons there was all to hold Jacob into captivity and blind him from the truth. So Jacob's tribulations was to be over long continuance, while Gentiles will only have but 7 years, or actually 3 years and 7 months, 1,335 days. And then the righteous remnant will serve as servants and handmaids in the kingdom. This is also why the tribulations will be severe and brutal, unlike any days we have ever had, because the Most High is going to bring Gentiles through the fire baptism, the baptism of fire, and they will lose 2/3. Revelations reports billions of people will perish, and a righteous remnant will be saved after 3.7 years, and before the first plagues are consummated as the final wrath of the Most High, which is Revelation chapter 16 through 19. The Most High will remove a remnant of Gentiles off the scene, just as he will do before the tribulations for Jacob. And this goes for heathen, unrepentant Israelites who are like spiritual Gentiles too. And so the terrors of Jacob will be sacrificed because you forsake the holy covenant with our father, and it comes with blessings and curses. And since you deny what you must do to inherit the blessings, which is repent, because you seek to be blessed now under Esau's world, and you will receive the curses of the covenant for your lawlessness there. And so Isaiah chapter 34, verse 5, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is Esau, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. That's the heathen Israelites there. The sword of the Yahuwah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Yahuwah have a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. There. So when you research that word Basra, it means the sheepfold there, referencing the Israelites there. And so verse 8, for it is the day of the Yahuwah's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. And so you must endure as Jacob had to endure, and without taking marks of the beast. And you must remove all marks of the beast, physical and spiritual, and all while following the ways of the Most High to be saved. And the ways of the Most High are not found in Judaism or any other world religions. So you have to endure the rise of Judaism, Noahide laws, and the Islamic Sharia laws, and Rome's Christianity and Catholicism. And you may even have to submit to a righteous martyr's death without submitting to the beast and his marks there. Just as the Israelites have done, if you read the 4 books of Maccabees there. And so Matthew chapter 10, verse 28, and fear not them that kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him that is able to destroy both body and soul in hell there. And so, tribulation, you're going to have a mark of the beast system, and you're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you take the marks of the beast there. We also know that they're building mass camps, such as alligator Alcatraz, and they're hiding it under the psyops of the migrant crisis there, which is really used to set precedents, legal precedents, to change the laws and remove human rights, and then take away the birthright citizenship, and then enact the habeas corpus there, and then go after the Israelites. And that's why they have Donald Trump put the National Guard in 19 Democratic states there. And so on these AKA concentration camps there's a reference here in Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that had been beheaded for the witness of Yahusha, and for the word of Elohim, and who had not worshipped the beast, nor his image, nor had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Hamashiach for 1,000 years. There. So you can only use your, without getting banned on social media, you can only use your imagination what this is referencing going on here. There. And so Second Ezra chapter 16, Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 74. Hear ye, O my beloved, saith the Yahuwah, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Elohim is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Yahuwah Elohim. Let not your soul sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins, and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through. It is left undressed, and it is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith. There. But know this, the tribulations will last only 3.7 years instead of this century over century, 2,000 years or so tribulation of Jacob. This is also why the remnant of Gentiles will serve as servants and handmaids in the kingdom under Jacob. There. So the reason why Jacob is saved first is to restore Jacob as a living nation, meaning we will inherit and inhabit the true biblical promised land of Shem, which is sub-Sahara Africa. There. So Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, the woman goes to the wilderness, and that woman is Jacob and not the church or the Gentiles. And I want you to notice the 3.5 year prophecies here. There's 3.5 years, Revelation chapter 11, the two witnesses. There's 3.5 years, Revelation chapter 12, the woman in the wilderness. There's 3.5 years, Revelation chapter 13, the beast system there. And then you had 3.7 years from Daniel chapter 12, verse 12. They all occur at the same time once Yahusha is declared on the day of Yah, which is upon our doorsteps there. And so for 3.5 years, Jacob goes to the wilderness and receives training and hidden teachings not meant for Gentiles there. We conquer sub-Saharan Africa from the wilderness through sub-Saharan Africa, just as the first Exodus. And after we establish as a nation, then the Gentiles can come and serve as servants and help me. So you can't save them when Jacob is saved, because Jacob must first be established in his own lands, and the glory of the Gentiles can never be magnified above Jacob. And also the Gentiles must go through the Torah, which is the baptism of fire there. And we know Judah and Israel are the most high battle weapons he will use to subdue the earth. And even the salvation of Jacob is broken down by Judah being saved first, and then the northern tribe is joined to Judah, and then the lands of Judah are saved first, and then the lands of the northern tribe. And after the Hamashiach conquers the promised land, then the nations of the earth are subdued under Hamashiach. So it's all in stages there. So salvation comes to the world in stages, and it all begins with Jacob in its own stages, starting with the harvest of the first fruits there. And so Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. And I looked, and lo, and a lamb stood on the mount of Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as if it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. And these are they which have not defiled with women, for they are virgins. So women is not just talking about a sexual thing here, it's also talking about a spiritual thing there. And that's why, even Revelation chapter 17 through 19, Mystery Babylon is a woman there. And these are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb there. So we know right now, currently, the Hamashiach is on the earth, as well as the 144,000 are on the earth. And this is saying that the 144,000 are always with the Hamashiach there. And so Second Ezra chapter 2. Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 38. Arise up and stand. Behold, the number of those that are sealed in the feast of the Yahuwah, which are departed from the shadows of the world, and have received glorious garments of the Yahuwah. Take thy number, O Zion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Yahuwah. The number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Yahuwah, that thy people, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed. And I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Yahuwah with songs. And in the midst of them was a young man of a higher stature, taller than all the rest. And upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel, and he said, Sir, what are these? And he answered and said unto thee, These are they that have put off the mortal clothing, and have put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Elohim. Now are they crowned and receive palms. They're receiving crowns because they're going to rule over the nations with the Hamashiach there. And then I said unto the angel, What young person is that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands? And so he answered and said unto me, It is the son of Elohim, whom they have confessed in the world. And then I began greatly to commend them that stood so swiftly for the name of the Yahuwah. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell thy people what manner of things and how great wonders the Yahuwah thy house seen there. And so this is giving a vision of the 144,000 on the mothership there with the Hamashiach there. And so Isaiah chapter 45 verse 15, verily thou art Elohim that hideth thyself, O Elohim of Israel, the Savior. They shall not be ashamed and also confounded, all them, they shall all go to confusion together that are makers of idols. But Israel shall be saved in the Yahuwah with the everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. There. Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows there. So it's probably a better way of saying Esau is the end of the age there, because the world is not ending. The world is being renewed there. And so we know, and this is going to give rise to the Jacob here. And so Hosea chapter 6 verse 11. Hosea chapter 6 verse 11. Also, O Judah, he have set an harvest for thee when I return to captivity of my people. There. And so the second Exodus, or I should say the second coming, all that is going to start here with Judah, which is in the Americas there. And then it's going to shift over to the continent of what we call Africa there. And so second Ezra chapter 13 here, second Ezra chapter 13 verse 23. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such that have works and faith towards the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which are left behind are more blessed than they which be dead. This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea. The same is he whom Elohim the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there cameth a blast of wind and of fire and of storm, and that he held neither sword nor instrument of war, but the rushing end of him destroyed the multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. In verse 29, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs happen which I showed thee before. Then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. So this is a man ascending, meaning the Messiah is Hamashiach is on the earth right now. He's ascending to the mothership. So we have been mistaught about the second coming there. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land lead the battle they have against one another, And a number of multitudes shall be gathered together as thou sawest them, willing to come and overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come, and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and building, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which are, for their wicked life are fallen into tempest. And he shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherein they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. And he shall destroy them without labor, by the law which is like unto me. There. And so the stage begins here in America, where Judah and the Hamashiach are located right now. There. And then the stage shifts to the continent of Africa, where the northern tribes are located for the regathering there. And this is why those Israelites who sell Latinos or the 10 northern tribes are false, because the northern tribes are in Africa and not South America. Azeroth is not in the Americas, it's in Africa, and the 10 northern tribes are what we will call Negroids there. And so Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 39, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceful multitude unto them. There. In verse 45, for though that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, and the same region is called Azeroth. Then dwelt there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. But those that be left of thy people are they that are found within my borders. And now when he destroyed the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain. And then shall he show them great wonders there. And so this is talking about the regathering of the northern tribe back to Judah, to the fold there. And it's also referenced here in Isaiah chapter 11. So Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Yahuwah shall set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines towards the west. They shall spoil them of the east together, and they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And the Yahuwah shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it into 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was in Israel in the day he came up out of the land of Egypt. There. So Isaiah chapter 11 and 2nd Ezra chapter 13 are tying into each other there, as well as Ezekiel chapter 37 there. And these all discuss the gathering of the northern tribes to Judah, and this all occurs in sub-Sahara Africa once Judah leaves America with the Hamashiach there. And so Zechariah chapter 12, verse 7. The Yahuwah also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. There. So you see how Judah is going to be saved first, and his tent saved first. And so that way the glory, people don't magnify themselves against Judah. That's kind of the same way why the Israelites get saved before the Gentiles get saved there. So that way they don't magnify themselves against Jacob there. And so Isaiah chapter 61 verse 4. And they shall build the old wastes. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of an alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Talking about servants and handmaids handmaids there. But ye shall be named the priests of the Yahuwah. Men shall call you ministers of our Elohim. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves. For your shame you shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess the double, everlasting joy shall be unto them. There. So we're talking about a regathering, the second Exodus to the promised land, out of the houses of bondage there. And so Genesis chapter 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. For the prey, my son, thou art going up. He stooped down. He is couched as a lion. And as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come. And unto him shall the regathering of the people be. So this is a key here, because this exposes that many so-called Old Testament prophecies remain unfulfilled, which also exposes the tampering of scriptures to label New Testament writings the New Testament or New Covenant, because there's no such thing as a New Covenant being fulfilled or inherited by the Gentiles. So you must read New Testament books based upon the Torah and not based upon Gentile interpretations of replacement theology. So in Genesis chapter 49, it's revealing the scepter shall not fall from Judah, or a lawgiver from his feet, until Shiloh comes, and unto him the gathering of the people be. So even in the so-called Old Testament, it was prophesizing what's labeled New Testament books there. In fact, Yahusha prophecy is the first prophecy in scriptures, Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. And so Genesis chapter 49 is a prophecy for the purpose of the Hamashiach, who you call the Messiah. This is why you must train yourself to read New Testament books through the eyes of the Old Testament, because the New Testament is just a continuation of the Old Testament. And the New Testament books are deep sleep with seals. So you must break the seals using the Torah and the apocrypha books there. You can't just read the New Testament standalone. There's only one testament, and that is the Torah, and Hamashiach came to fulfill the Torah. Hamashiach came to fulfill the promises of the Father there. And so Enoch chapter 104, Enoch chapter 104, verse 10. And I know this mystery, for they, the sinners, shall utter the just verdict, and many sinners will take it to heart. They will speak evil words and lie, and they will invent fictitious stories and write out my scriptures on the basis of their own words, talking about how they took the Torah, the Tanakh, and repackaged it into what you call the Bibles there today. And what they have written down all the words truthfully on the basis of their own speech, and neither alter nor take away from my words, all of which I testify to them from the beginning there. And so let's go here to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled there. So, this is, some important scriptures here. John chapter 5, verse 43. I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive there. And let's add here John chapter 10. John chapter 10, verse 37. If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. So the Hamashiach gave us a warning of tampering with scriptures and doctrines of man and false prophets. If the message of the Hamashiach does not do the works of the Father, then don't believe them. For example, we're taught about a rapture to heaven and the destruction of the earth in the end times. This is not doing the works of the Father, because the works of the Father is to fulfill his Torah, fulfill his covenant there. And his covenant is to establish Jacob back over his lands and rule the earth. So if you hear or or you're taught anything other than this, John chapter 10, verse 37, don't believe them. That's what coming in the name of the Father means. Coming to do the works of the Father and not present other gods or other gospels there. And so Yahusha came in the name of Yahuwah there. Jesus Christ came in his own name, tracing through Rome, Greece, Egypt, and Babylon, all the kingdoms of Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar statue, and all the captivities of Jacob merge into one. And that's why Rome was said to be a diverse mixture of the nations there. And so Genesis chapter 49, verses 8 through 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, and to Shiloh comes, and unto him the gathering of the people. So the replacement theology wants you to believe that Paul went to Gentile nations. This is why his writings were tampered with. The true Paul of scriptures went to Gentile Israelites, the heathen Israelites. So just as there are two messiahs in the New Testament, you have Jesus and Yahusha stories blended as one there. There's also two Pauls blended as one. Paul to the Gentile nations and Paul to the heathen Israelites. And that's what a sealed book means. Sealed with deep sleep that only the Ruach HaKodesh can break. And so don't expect to break the deep sleep while in disobedience to the Father there. And so John, the book of John chapter 3. John chapter 3 verse 10. John chapter 3 verse 10 through 17. And Yahusha answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel, knoweth not these things? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I told you earthly things, and you believe me not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. For Elohim so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved there. So this word world that's being referenced in John chapter 3 is all talking about Jacob there. The Most High sent his Hamashiach to pay the ultimate sacrifice. But Gentiles want you to think that the Hamashiach came to die for the sins of for their sins and for the sins of the world. And that's why you must study beyond John chapter 3 verse 15 to know who the world is referring to here. And so John chapter 11, verse 49. And one of them named Caphaeus, being the high priest that year, said unto them, You know nothing at all, nor consider that is expedient for us, that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spoke he not of himself, but being a high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahusha should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that he should gather together in one the children of Elohim that were scattered abroad. So we're talking about a second Exodus here, even in the New Testament. Then from that day forth, they took counsel together to put him to death, because that's a message they don't want you to know. So here it clarifies who the Hamashiach came to die for, redeem and regather and save. There's only one peoples on the earth that need saving, and that's the seed of Jacob. And that's why Jacob was the only people on earth to get a savior from the Most High. So Caphaeus is further explaining the focus of salvation is to gather all the children of the Most High into one nation. And one thing that many forget, and you must remember, is that the northern tribes were divorced at this time. So he's talking to Judah as that nation and referring to the northern tribes as the scattered children of the Most High. So the job of the Hamashiach is to regather the Most High chosen seed, which is scattered throughout the earth, and bring them into their own lands, aka an exodus. So I want you to notice it's not mentioning a destruction of the earth or a rapture to heaven. And it's not mentioning gathering of Gentile nations, even though the book of Isaiah discusses this. Hamashiach never mentioned this. And just as New Testament books were tampered with, so too was some of the Old Testament books as well there. And so John chapter 10, verse 6. This parable spoke Yahusha unto them, but they understood not which things were he spoke unto them. Then said Yahusha unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep, and all that ever come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. I am come that they may have life, and that they may have life more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. But he that is a hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catches them, and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth, because he is a hireling, and careth not for the sheep. I am a good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. So here in John chapter 10, the other sheep is the northern tribes who were scattered at that time. Judah was still in Jerusalem and ruling, the iron of Rome mixed with the clay of the Israelites, as Daniel chapter 2 through 12 mentions. This is hidden black history and whitewashing of history that the world hides there. So, nevertheless, Judah was still a nation in their own lands during the first advent of the Hamashiach. The northern tribe was scattered. Judah would later be scattered, but at the time of the Hamashiach speaking here, Judah was still in Jerusalem. And the trick of what's going on is people are viewing these writings as if they were written in our times, meaning that all the Israelites are scattered now, Judah and Ephraim, the northern tribes. So when people read this in John chapter 10 through chapter 11, they think the Israelites are one fold and the Gentile nations are the other fold that's being gathered. They see all humans are children of God or children of the Most High, when this is really all about Jacob, one nation there. And so Second Ezra chapter 6, Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 56 through 57. As for the other people which come out of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but like unto a spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Yahuwah, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us there. And so, Second Ezra chapter 8, verses 1 through 3. And he answered me, saying, The Most High have made this world for many, but the world to come for a few. I will tell thee a similitude, Ezra, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that if giveth much mold, wherein earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of. Even so is the course of the present world. There be many created, but few shall be saved there. Now, so this is why you have all this replacement theology going on there, because everyone wants to inherit the promises of Israel, because Israel was written to be saved in scriptures there. And so Romans chapter 9, verse 4. Who are the Israelites? To whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the service of Elohim, and the promises there. So that's all going to go through the Israelites, not through the Gentiles there. So you must read John chapter 10 through 11 scripture from the point of view when it is spoken over 2,000 years ago, when Judah was in Jerusalem and only the northern tribes were scattered there. And so I want you to recall and remember what salvation is. So salvation is freedom from your oppressors and restoration as a nation. And the second fold of that is salvation from sin there. And there's a code here in the birth of the Hamashiach here. You find one in Luke chapter 1. So Luke chapter 1, verse 31 through 33. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and shall bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahusha. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Yahuwah Elohim shall give him unto him the throne of his father David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. And verses 54 to 55. He hath helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, as he has spoke to our fathers, to Abraham, and to his seed forever. And verse 66 through 80. And they that heard him laid them up in their hearts, saying, what manner of child shall this be? And the hand of the Yahuwah was with him. And his father Zacharias was filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and prophesied, saying, blessed be the Elohim, the Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he has spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we shall be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. So highlight verse 71 right there. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he swore to our father Abraham. So this is all talk about the Torah being referenced here in the New Testament there. And nobody is teaching that he will grant unto us that we should be delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear. So highlight verse 74 too. And then, so you have to get saved from your enemies and restored to your own land, so that way you can serve the Most High without fear, which is working on salvation for your soul. There, in verse 75, and holiness and righteousness before Him all the days of our life. And thou, child, shall be called the prophet of the highest, for thou shalt go before the face of the Yahuwah to prepare His ways, to give knowledge of salvation unto His people by the remission of their sins, through the tender mercy of our Elohim, whereby the day spring from a high visit us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit, and was in the deserts till the day of showing unto Israel. So Luke chapter 1, concerning the birth and the purpose of the Hamashiach, is to save us, Jacob, from our enemies, and fulfill the oaths of the father and his covenant with Abraham concerning the seed of Jacob, to give Jacob the promised land, the richest lands on earth, and for Jacob to rule over the earth. That's the birthright of Jacob, and whose this world was created for our sakes there. Read 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and Jubilee chapter 26. So salvation is twofold. Salvation from our enemies. We are like prisoners of war, dispersed slaves under a hidden oppression, and to break all yokes of bondage and restore us in our lands, because we can only truly serve the Most High in our own lands. You have to come out of Egypt in order to serve the Most High. And the other part of salvation is salvation from sin. But that only comes after we are saved from our enemies there. So let's go to Matthew chapter 1. Matthew chapter 1, verses 20 through 23. But while he spoke, thought of these things, behold, the angel of the Yahuwah appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Ruach HaKodesh. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahusha, for he shall save his people from their sins. So Luke chapter 1 is talking about saving from the enemies. And then Matthew chapter 1, verse 21 is saying, save his people from their sins there. And now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Yahuwah the prophet saying, behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted as Elohim is with us there. And so, so once we get our lands, then comes the working on the salvation of our soul there. And so Isaiah chapter 25, verse 8. and he will swallow up death in victory. And the Yahuwah Elohim will wipe away tears from off their faces, and the rebuke of the people shall he take away from all of the earth. For the Yahuwah has spoken it there. So Matthew chapter 1 and Luke chapter 1 regarding the birth of the Messiah or the Hamashiach are scriptures to understand the meaning of salvation according to scriptures there. And understanding the purpose of the Hamashiach in the Torah covenant and promises there. This is why salvation was written for Jacob, because the Most High chose Jacob before the world was founded, and he set them apart from all the seed of man to be his people, and he to be our Elohim there. And so let's go here to Enoch, the book of Enoch, chapter 46 here. And at that place, I saw the one to whom belongs the time before time. And his head was white like wool. And we know there's only one people that have wool like hair. And with him, there was another individual whose face was like that of a human being. His countenance was full of grace like that amongst the holy angels. And I asked the one from amongst the angels who was going with me and who had revealed to me all the secrets regarding the one who was born of human beings. Who is this? And from whence he is going as the prototype, as the before time. And he answered and said unto me, this is the Son of Man, to whom belongs righteousness, and with whom righteousness dwells. And he will open all the hidden storerooms, for the Yahuwah Spirit has chosen him. And he is destined to be victorious before the Yahuwah spirits in the eternal of righteousness. This Son of Man whom you have seen is the one who will remove the kings and the mighty ones from their comfortable seats, and the strong ones from their thrones. He shall loosen their reins of the strong and crush the teeth of sinners. He shall dispose the kings from their thrones and kingdoms, for they do not extol and glorify him, and neither do they obey him, the source of their kingship. The faces of the strong will be slapped and filled with shame and gloom. Their dwelling places in their bed will be worms. They shall have no hope to rise from their beds, for they do not extol the name of the Yahuwah spirits there. And Enoch chapter 62, for this purpose he became the chosen one. He was concealed in the presence of the Yahuwah spirits prior to the creation of the world and for eternity. For the Son of Man was concealed from the beginning, and the Most High One preserved him in the presence of his power. Then he revealed him to the holy and to the elect ones there, talking about the Israelites there and their holy and the holy angels there. So the Hamashiach was only appeared to the Israelites. He never appeared to the world there. Jesus Christ appeared to the world there. And Jesus Christ is basically the Rome, the iron of Rome mixed with the clay of the Israelites there. And so Daniel chapter 2, verse 42 to 44. And as for the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall partly be strong and partly be broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with merry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. This is talking about how sub-Sahara Africa is going to subdue the entire earth there and stand forever. And so Psalms chapter 118, verse 22, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. Let's talk about the Hamashiach, who all the world rejects. That's also talking about the Torah. So the Hamashiach is the Torah made flesh. And so here in Enoch chapter 46 is the purpose of the Hamashiach confirmed again. He comes to remove all the kings of the earth, the Gentiles, from their thrones. And if the second coming meant the destruction of earth and the rapture of heaven, then Enoch would have communicated this. Rather, Enoch confirms that heaven is coming to the earth and for the chosen seed called the elect. This is why in the New Testament books, the Hamashiach only appears to the elect and not the world, the Gentiles. Even though he appeared to Gentile Israelites, meaning heathen Israelites, he never appeared to Gentiles Gentile nations. In fact, he said to avoid them. So I think that speaks volumes concerning the intentions or focus of the Most High concerning the Gentiles there. I also want you to notice how the Most High didn't deal with Gentile nations, even during the times of the Gentiles there. He sent them strong delusions of fallen angels and Satan there. And I don't say this to mean Gentiles can't be saved. I'm saying that they're not the Most High's focus when it comes to salvation. He's only concerned about his children, and those who cleave to Jacob can become like as his children. But his main focus is his own people, whom the world was created for, and that the world doesn't want you to know. So Jubilees chapter 2. Jubilees chapter 2, verse 19 through 20. And he said unto us, Behold, I will separate unto myself a people from amongst all the peoples, and these shall keep the Sabbath day. And I will sanctify unto myself as my people, and will bless them, as I have sanctified the Sabbath day, and do sanctify it unto myself. Even so will I bless them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their sovereign ruler. And I have chosen the seed of Jacob from amongst all that have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. And I would teach them the Sabbath day, that they may keep Sabbath therein from all work there. And let's go to Jubilees chapter 15, verse 30 to 32. So Jubilees chapter 15. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, Yahuwah did not cause to approach them. And he chose them not because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people, and he sanctified it and gathered it from amongst all the children of men. For there are many nations and many people, and all are his, and over all he has placed spirits and authority to lead them astray from him. But over Israel he did not appoint any Malach or spirit, for he alone is their ruler, and he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his Malach and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve and bless them, and that they may be his, and he may be theirs from henceforth and forevermore. There. So the Most High ran Jacob down as his firstborn son, as his children. He is our father. And he created the heavens and the earth for Jacob's sakes. He chose the richest lands on the earth where he would place his name and his kingdom there. And so this is what 2nd Ezra chapter 6 here, verse 55 to 58. All this I have spoken before, O Yahuwah, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which are come out of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but like unto a spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Yahuwah, behold, these heathen which have ever been reputed as nothing have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. And if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance of the world? And how long shall this endure? There. And so this is where we turn to Daniel, the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 24 through 27. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem until the Hamashiach the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, the wall, and even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall Hamashiach be cut off, but not to himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate there. And that's talking about Daniel, verse 27. It's talking about the final 7 weeks here. The first 3.5 years are the tribulation there, and then you have the last 3.5 years, which is the wrath and final judgments there. Keep an eye on this. You have all the nations gathering for the United Nations conference here, September 23rd there. So that's going to be a high watch, on this, possible covenant coming out there. And so the Most High planned the end from the beginning, and when He planned the foundations of the world, he set time and creation based around the 12 houses, the 12 tribes of Israel. This is where you get 12 zodiacs. There with a 13 secret zodiac, which is like synonymous with like the Hamashiach there. This is where you get 12 months in a year there, with the secret 13th month there, signaling to the Hamashiach there. And this is where you also get 12 hours in a day there, 12 stages to the consummation of times, like in Baruch chapter 27 there. And so everything that the Most High planted upon this earth was planted around Jacob there. And this is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when He separated the sons of Adam, He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel there. So everything is about Jacob there. Jacob has arrived at the end of 70 weeks, and this is the time that our salvation has arrived for Jacob there. And so Second Baruch chapter 27, verse 12 to 14, and the 12th part, disorder and a mixture of all that has been before. These parts at that time will be reserved and will be mixed one with another, and they will minister to each other. For some of these parts will withhold a part of themselves and take from others, and will accomplish that which belongs to them and to others. Hence, those who live on the earth in those days will not understand that it is the consummation of times here, and we have reached the consummation of times here. And so Isaiah chapter 54, verses 1 through 10 there. Sing, O barren, thou didst not bear. Break forth into singing and cry out loud. Thou didst not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith the Yahuwah. Enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of thy habitations. Spare not, liften the cords, and strengthen the stakes. For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left, and thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles, and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. Fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither be confounded, for thou shalt not be put to shame. For thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth, and shalt no more remember the reproach of thy widowhood any more. For thy maker is thy husband, the Yahuwah host is his name, and thy Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel. The Elohim of the whole earth shall he be called. For the Yahuwah hath called thee as a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, and a wife of you, when thou wast refused, saith thy Elohim. For a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercies will I gather thee. In a little wrath have I hid my face from thee for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith the Yahuwah thy Redeemer. For this is as the waters of Noah unto me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah should no more go over the earth, so have I sworn that I will not be wroth with thee, nor rebuke thee. For the mountains shall depart, and the hills removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, saith the Yahuwah that have mercy on thee. And so let's go here to Isaiah chapter 49, verses 1 through 9 there. And it says, listen, O owls, unto me, hearken, ye people, for the Yahuwah hath called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother hath he made mention of my name. And he hath made my my mouth like a sharp sword, and the shadow of his hand hath he hid me, and made me a polished shaft, and his quiver hath he hid me. And he said unto me, thou Thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. And then I said, I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for naught and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with the Yahuwah, and my work with my Elohim. And now saith the Yahuwah that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Yahuwah, and my Elohim shall be my strength. And he said, it is a light thing that thou should be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Thus saith the Yahuwah, the Redeemer of Israel, and his Holy One, to him whom man despises, to him whom the nation abhor, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, and princes also shall worship, because of the Yahuwah that is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and he shall choose thee. Thus saith the Yahuwah, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee, and I will preserve thee and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritage, that thou mayest say to the prisoners, go forth, to them that are in darkness, show yourself, that they shall feed their ways, and their pastures shall be in high places there. So, let's take a step back here and reflect on where we are right now, and discuss a major hidden topic in scriptures, and that is the second exodus of Jacob, back to the promised land. This would address the first form of salvation, and that's salvation from our enemies and reestablishing us in our own lands there. So remember, salvation is twofold: salvation from our enemies and restoration as a nation. And the second fold of that is salvation from our sins, from death there. And so Amos chapter 3, verse 1 through 2. Hear this word that the Yahuwah has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities there. And so, the Most High never dealt with any of these nations on the earth, there, whether it be the seed of Ham or the seed of Japheth, there. And so Genesis, or even the Gentile nations there. So Genesis chapter 15, verses 13 to 14, there. And he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterward they shall come out with great substance here. And I'm going to tie another one in here, and that's Zechariah chapter 2. Zechariah chapter 2, verses 6 through 8. And it says, ho, ho, come forth, and flee from the land of the north, saith the Yahuwah. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Yahuwah. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith the Yahuwah of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of his eye. There. And so the Islamic and the transatlantic slave trades and the oppression by America, daughter of Babylon, as our final captivity, it was predestined and revealed to Abraham in Genesis there. And when you read the scriptures, there's many precepts to a people that the Most High scattered throughout the nations. And this was the seed of Jacob, his covenant people there. So even before the Exodus happened, the Exodus was already prophesied to occur. The second Exodus, that is, there. And so Deuteronomy chapter 28 here. So, if you read the scriptures, there's a theme of scattering there. And so Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 64 through 68. And the Yahuwah shall scatter thee amongst all people from the one end of the earth to the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So one thing I'll just say here real quick is that in our scattering, and while we're amongst the nations there, it was already prophesied that we were going to be serving other gods there, that we were going to forget the Father, forget his ways, forget the true Hamashiach, forget the Torah there. In verse 65, and amongst these nations, and this was to occur until we got regathered there. And amongst these nations shall thou find no ease, neither shall thy soul of thy feet have rest. But the Yahuwah shall give thee a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have no assurance of thy life. And the morning thou shalt say, what Elohim if it were even? Or at evening thou shalt say, what Elohim it were morning? For the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thy eyes which thou shalt see. And the Yahuwah shall bring thee into Egypt again by ships, by the way wherewith I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So we are still slaves even in this day there. And we're still scattered, waiting to be regathered. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. The Yahuwah will scatter you amongst the peoples, and you will be left few in number amongst the nations where the Yahuwah drives you. There. And the book of Leviticus, Leviticus chapter 26, verse 33. So this is the covenant with the Father. This is Torah. So Leviticus chapter 26, verse 33. You, however, I will scatter amongst the nations, and will draw out a sword after you, as your land becomes desolate and your cities become waste there. So we see the destruction of Jerusalem and the scattering of the people was written to occur. And this was written to have begun after the death of the Hamashiach for the final captivity of Jacob. And even after the destruction of Jerusalem, the Israelites spread into Africa, and they thrived for many years until the beginning of the transatlantic slave trades there and the Islamic slave trades, where they were scattered throughout the nations. And from Matthew chapter 24 and Genesis chapter 49, we know the Israelites will be scattered until Hamashiach came to gather them in the last days, gather his elect, the elect being Jacob there. And so let's go here to the prophecy in Zechariah chapter 13, verse 7. Zechariah chapter 13, verse 7. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith the Yahuwah of hosts. Smite the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered, and I will turn my hand upon the little ones there. So we're talking about scattering. There, you got to be scattered in order to have an exodus or a regathering there. Now let's go to Micah. Micah chapter 5, verses 1 through 3. Micah chapter 5. Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath led siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with the rod upon the cheek. But thou, Bethlehem Ephrath, though thou be little amongst the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Egypt, in Israel, whose going forth has been from of old, from everlasting. Therefore will he give them up until the time that she which travaileth have brought forth. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel. So highlight verse 3 in there, because that's telling you that our tribulation was supposed to be over a long continuance since the death of the Hamashiach there. We were supposed to be scattered until he came back to gather us there. Hence the reference for a woman with travaileth. We know that's the end times there. And so Zechariah chapter 1, verse 21. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 21. Then said I, what come these to do? And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah to scatter it there. So this was all prophesied to occur because if you read the prophecy in Malachi, the last chapter in Malachi, there. So the Elijah comes and turn the hearts of the children to the Father, lest the Most High sends a curse to the earth there. So when the Hamashiach appeared, he appeared as a rejected, suffering servant. He was, he appeared unto his own, and his own received him not. John chapter 1, verse 11 there. And therefore, the Most High sent the curses out to Jacob. But this was all planned from the foundations of the earth there. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 5. Ezekiel chapter 5 here, verses 1 through 15. And thou, son of man, take thee a sharp knife, take thee a barber's razor, and cause it to pass upon thy head and upon thy beard. Then take thee balances to weigh and divide the hair. Thou shalt burn with a fire a third part in the midst of the cities, when the days of the siege are fulfilled. And this talk about the destruction of Jerusalem. And thou shalt take a third part and smite it about with a knife, and the third part thou shalt scatter in the wind. And I would draw a sword after them. Thou shalt also take thereof a few in number, and bind them in skirts. Then take them again, and cast them in the midst of the fire, and burn them in the fire. For thereof shall a fire come forth into all the house of Israel. Thus saith the Elohim, this is Jerusalem. I have set it in the midst of the nations and countries that are round about her. And she have changed my judgments into wickedness more than the nations, and my statutes more than the countries that are round about her. For they have refused my judgments and my statutes. They have not walked in them. Therefore, thus saith the Elohim, because you have multiplied more than the nations that are round about you, and have not walked in my statutes, neither have you kept my judgments, neither have you done according to the judgment of the nations that are round about you. Therefore, thus saith the Elohim, behold, I, even I, am against thee, and I will execute judgments in the midst of thee in the sight of all the nations. And I will do in thee which I have not done, and whereof I will not do any more the like, because of all thy abominations there. Therefore, the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers. And I will execute judgments in thee, and the whole remnant of thee will I scatter into all the winds. Wherefore, as I live, saith the Elohim, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all the detestable things, and with all thy abominations, therefore will I diminish thee, neither shall my eye spare thee, neither will I have any pity. A third part of thee shall die with the pestilence, and with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee, and a third part shall fall by the sword round about thee. And I will scatter a third part into all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them. Thus my anger shall be accomplished. This is why Daniel, in Daniel chapter 12, he's talking about when the beast system has gathered the power to scatter the holy people, then all shall be accomplished there. And so Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 13, it says, thus shall my anger be accomplished, and I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be comforted, and they shall know that I, the Yahuwah, have spoken it in my zeal when I have accomplished my fury in them. Moreover, I will make thee waste and a reproach among the nations that are round about thee, and the sight of all the nations that pass by. So it shall be a reproach and a taunt, and instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round about thee, when I shall execute judgments in anger and in fury and in furious rebukes. I, the Yahuwah, have spoken it there. And I'm just going to use this moment to take a restroom break. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back here shortly with more to cover here. Let me charge this a little. See that? This thing is bugging. Okay. Oh man. Talk about this topic of salvation here. So thanks for tuning in, and make sure if you haven't done so already, share, repost, tell your friends that we're live, and turn on Facebook notifications when I go live. So what the world is hiding is the true message of the Hamashiach and the New Testament writings there. The Gentiles, nations, have joined to erase the remembrance of Israel, as Psalms chapter 83 speaks. And what the world is hiding is the fact that the Most High has a specific set-apart people that is on the earth right now, and these people are at war with their Creator. They are suffering divine punishments and chastisements and afflictions of the curses of the covenant the Most High established with Abraham concerning the seed of Jacob. The Most High himself went to war against his own peoples to throw them through the fires, to diminish them and eliminate 2/3 of their population, to produce a righteous 1/3 remnant that is to be saved. This is the global Israel genocide and the Holocaust that's not taught in schools or churches or the world. And it happened everywhere that Jacob lived and in many nations in the world. And it's still happening to this day. Check the Congo, Sudan, where tens of millions are being killed, and they cover up and hide this genocide with Palestine. And the mass media doesn't cover it and expose it in fears of the Jews who own the media companies and the banks there. So when you're discussing the topic of salvation, the Most High is not at war with Gentiles right now. He's at war with his own people. And so his own people requires being saved from the Most High and also from him raising our enemies, the Gentiles, against us. So this is not about religion, and it's not about being raptured to heaven. It's about the Most High ending his war against his own people because of their disobedience, and he's coming to save them and go to war against the Gentiles, to diminish them and bring them through the fires to produce a righteous remnant that will be servants to Jacob and the kingdom. And because the first part of salvation is restoration of a nation free from our enemies, this will address the curses and references to a people that is scattered right now and has been scattered since the destruction of Jerusalem and the death of the Hamashiach. And it was written that these people will be in bondage to divine curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28 until the Hamashiach appear in his second coming to regather them. And at the coming of the Hamashiach, this same people will be wearing curses for a sign and a wonder of their identities. And this is why the Hamashiach is born on the earth in the end times and appearing as a suffering servant that rises to kingship on his time of day. And there's only one group of peoples on the earth that has fulfilled the curses and the blessings of the covenant and wait for the eternal blessings, and that is the Israelites, what we call Negroes there. And so Isaiah chapter 43 verse 10, ye are my witnesses, saith the Yahuwah, and my servant whom I chosen, that ye may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there is no Elohim formed, neither shall there be after me. And this is what is being hidden in the world, and how the topic of salvation is being twisted and misinterpreted. The Most High is coming to redeem and save his people from their enemies, and then from sin and death there. And so let's go to Ezekiel chapter 39, verses 21 through 29. And I will set my glory amongst the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid against upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am the Yahuwah, their Elohim, from that day forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for the iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So they fell all by the sword, according to their uncleanness, justice, and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore thus saith the Yahuwah Elohim, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that they have borne their shame and all their trespass whereby they trespass against me, and when they dwell safely in their land, and none make them afraid again, when I have brought them again from the people, and gathered them out of their enemy lands, and am sanctifying them in the sight of many nations, then shall they know that I am the Yahuwah, their Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity amongst the heathen, but I gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Yahuwah Elohim. So notice here, even in Ezekiel chapter 39, the emphasis on taking us into our own land, there, free from the enemy, to be able to worship the Father and come into his true identity there. So the first form of salvation is saving from the enemy and restoration of your nation. And the second form of salvation is salvation from sin and death. But that can't occur until you get into your own land there. So this is exposing all the false teachings. People running around saying that they're saved, sanctified, and baptized and filled with the Holy Ghost there. So this is what salvation is in scriptures there. Ezekiel is saying that once the Most High restores Jacob, all will know that Jacob went into captivity because of their sins and their disobedience to the Father. Therefore, the Most High sent Jacob to the curses of the covenant. And so now that we discussed the scattering of the Most High's chosen seed and the curses into all the nations of the earth, where they remain today, awaiting the Hamashiach to gather them, let's see how this ties into the Exodus, the second Exodus there. And so let's go to Jasher chapter 63, verses 5 through 8 there. And another generation rose up in their stead, which have not known the sons of Jacob and all the good which they have done to them, and all their might in Egypt. Therefore all Egypt began from that day forth to embitter their lives of the sons of Jacob, and to afflict them with all manner of hard labor, because they have not known their ancestors who had delivered them in the days of their famine. And this was also from the Yahuwah for the children of Israel, to benefit them in the later days, in order that all the children of Israel might know their Yahuwah Elohim, and in order to know the signs and the mighty wonders which the Yahuwah would do in Egypt on account of his people Israel, in order that the children of Israel might fear the Yahuwah Elohim of their ancestors, and walk in all his ways, they and their seed after them all their days there. Excuse me. So just as in the first Exodus, the same in the second Exodus. The Most High used our Egyptian/Babylonian captivity in order to reveal and introduce himself to his people with signs and wonders. And this is why hidden in the book of Revelations is the second Exodus of Jacob. And those that study the first Exodus can see parallels and end-time prophecies to the second Exodus of Jacob. And so hidden in the New Testament is the second Exodus of Jacob. And so, in other words, the second coming of the Hamashiach is really the second Exodus of Jacob. And since Hamashiach means the anointed one, Yahusha means salvation of Yah, and Israel means Yah Isaiah means Yah saves. And this is why Yahusha heavily quotes from the book of Isaiah. And in Isaiah, there is a hidden code to the second Exodus of Jacob. And that is Isaiah 11, verses 11 through 12 there. And I'll just read the first half of verse 11 here. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Yahuwah shall set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people there. So this has yet to occur there. And Isaiah's prophecy here is not discussing the first Egyptian captivity, as it was only approximately 210 years. Isaiah is discussing Genesis chapter 15 prophecy of a 400-year captivity after the dispersal of the people into all the nations of the earth. Ezekiel chapter 5, it says the Most High casts his judgment before the nations in the sight of all peoples against his chosen seed. And so the dispersal from the Islamic and transatlantic slave trades, the year 1619 through 2019, that represents a 400-year captivity, which leads us to the second exodus of Jacob. Genesis chapter 49, regathering of the people unto Shiloh. This is the second exodus of Jacob. So Jeremiah chapter 16, verses 14 through 15. And therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Yahuwah, that it shall no more be said, the Yahuwah liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but the Yahuwah liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their own land that I gave unto their fathers. So he's saying again, meaning it happened before. This is talking about a second exodus that is yet to occur there. And so let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 18. And in those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for their inheritance unto your fathers. These are scriptures that the church and religions don't want you to know. And since the second Exodus is the second coming of the Hamashiach, it exposes that you must study New Testament writings and prophecies based around the second Exodus of Jacob. And so in other words, all end time prophecies are based around the second Exodus of Jacob and restoration as a nation. And so studying from this precept will put New Testament writings and the writings of the prophets and the proper perspective interpretations there. This is why salvation was written for Jacob, because salvation is based around the second Exodus of Jacob and the restoration of the people of the Most High there. And so that's some key things to understand. So in Jeremiah chapter 30, verses 1 through 11, we read this earlier in the video, so I'm not going to read it here again. But Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 11, it reveals the Most High will not leave Jacob altogether unpunished there. So what does this mean? This means all unrepentant Israelites who failed to repent in time will be considered as Gentiles and will experience the tribulations with Gentile nations there. And you'll have a final 7 years before forgiveness is not granted. Hence, forgiveness is 70 times 7. Daniel, 70 weeks times 7. And so Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 to 22. Matthew chapter 18, verse 21. Then came Peter unto him and said, Yahuwah, how oft shall thy brother sin against me, and I forgive him, till 7 times? Yahusha said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. That's representing the Daniel 70 weeks. And we completed 70 weeks and we're entering the final 7. This final 7 is for Gentiles. This is a final opportunity for Gentiles to be saved, meaning not rapture to heaven, but to be saved and enter the lands of Jacob under Jacob as servants. And preceding the final 7 is the resurrection of the dead. It's the sign that judgment and salvation has arrived, and that's why the Hamashiach said that he is the resurrection of the dead. And so Second Baruch chapter 50, verses 1 through 4. And he answered and said to me, listen, Baruch, this word, and write down in the memory of your heart that you shall learn. For the earth shall surely give back the dead at that time. It receives them in order to keep them, not changing anything in their form, but as it has received them, so it will give them back. And as I have delivered them, so too I will raise them. For then it will be necessary to show those who live that the dead are living again, and that those who went away have come back. And it will be that when they have recognized each other, those who know each other at this moment, then my judgment will be strong, and those things which have been spoken of before will come there. And so this is also talking about what Enoch talked about, the resurrection of the dead. You also see the resurrection of the dead spoken about in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses through 4 through 13 through 19 there. And so let's go to 2nd Ezra here. 2nd Ezra chapter 7. 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 18 through 25. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight and hope for the wide, for they have done wickedly, have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. And he said unto me, there is no judge above Elohim, and none have understanding above the highest. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of Elohim that is set before them. For Elohim have given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spoke against him and imagined vain things, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways. But his law had they despised, and denied his covenants, and his statutes had they not been faithful, and have not performed thy works. And therefore, Ezra, empty things are for empty, and full are for the full things. There. And so let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verses 1 through 13. And so he answered me and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou see a part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that this is a very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spoke of these things from the day that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by his faith, whereby ye believe, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them from the beginning. Then shall they be in the pitiful case which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they have lost my law while they have yet liberty, when yet as place of repentance was open unto them, understood it not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose this world is, and for whom the world was created. There. So this is right here called the space of time, opportunity for repentance. There. And so this is also referenced here in 2nd Baruch chapter 85. 2nd Baruch chapter 85, verses 12 through 13. For behold, Yahuwah the Most High will cause all these things to come. There will not be an opportunity to repent anymore, nor a limit to the times, nor a duration of the periods, nor a change to rest, nor an opportunity of prayer, nor sending up a petition, nor giving knowledge, nor giving love, nor opportunity of repentance, nor supplicating for offenses, nor prayers of the fathers, nor intercessors of the prophets, nor help of the righteous. There is the proclamation of judgment to corruption, regarding the way to the fire and the path that leads to glowing coils. There. So you better repent before it's too late. There. Once the day of Yah comes, it will be too late to repent, and the Most High is going to send the tares, the unrepentant Israelites, into the tribulations with the Gentile nations there. And so this is also what's alluded to in Daniel chapter 11. So Daniel chapter 11, verses 30 to 35, there. So Daniel chapter 11, verses 30 to 35. For the ships of Shittim, this is talking about Rome, shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return, and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do, and he shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant. Talk about unrepentant Israelites. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their Elohim shall be strong and do exploits. And they that understand amongst the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, and by captivity, and by spoil many days. Now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little hope, but many shall cleave to their flatteries. And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them and purge them, to make them white, even till the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed there. So according to Daniel chapter 11, the Most High will leave some righteous behind to try them and purge them. Some of the righteous will remain in order to teach the Gentiles there. And so we are coming amongst a great separation that is occurring prior to this second Exodus here. And so let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20 verses 33 through 38. As I live, saith the Yahuwah Elohim, surely with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness, in the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith the Yahuwah Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod and bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from amongst you the rebels, them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country wherein they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am the Yahuwah there. And so a great separation is coming to the seed of Jacob in the world, separating the wheat and the tares, the sheep and the goats, those who repent to obedience from those that remain lawless and unrepentant there. And so what's interesting, when you study scriptures concerning the children of Noah, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and I want you to study Jubilee and Jasher's concerning the 12 forefathers of the 12 tribes of Jacob, later changed the name to Israel. Then I want you to study King David, Solomon, Rahab, the Moabites. Then I want you to study the genealogy of the Hamashiach in Luke chapter 1 and Matthew chapter 1. And you'll notice something stands out even more to make the distinctions amongst the Gentiles. The Israelites mix with the seed of Shem, but they also mix with the seed of Ham. And you don't find any scriptures where Jacob mixed with Japheth there. And I think that's a very key thing there. Japheth was whitewashed and lost his melanin. Thus we call European nations white. And when you study the ancient world of what we call Africa, you had the school in Memphis, the school in Babylon, Timbuktu, the school of Alexandria, and you had a school in India as this one culture spread across Africa and Asia there, this Shem and Hamite culture. And take note of how Ham remained as Negroes, and so did Shem. And concerning the seed of Ham, you have Isaiah chapter 19 verse 20. And it shall be for a sign and a witness unto the Yahuwah of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry out unto the Yahuwah because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. And so Egypt is the seed of Ham, and take note of how the seed of Ham joined as one during the Tower of Babel in the book of Jasher and Jubilee. And that's why many say Egypt is Babylon reborn and also a daughter to Cush. And so the Most High is saying he's going to send a Savior to the Egyptians, but there's no scriptures concerning a Savior being sent to the seed of Japheth there. It just talks about Gentiles and general there. And so I think, if we look to Revelation chapter 16, it may give some type of some clues and clarity there. And so Revelation chapter 16, verses 12 through 16. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. The real Euphrates River is near Nigeria, Burkina Faso, that area of Africa. It's not. It's not in the land of Israel today, what they call Israel today. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirit like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth, and unto the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Elohim Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keep his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place in the Hebrew tongue called Armageddon. So I want you to take notice of this prophecy of Armageddon. Take note, it references the kings of the east, aka Europe and Asia. And think of how Japheth inhabited the isles of Gentiles. And ask yourself this. If the Gentiles are raptured at the first appearance of the Hamashiach, then what would the nations get their soldiers to fight World War III before tribulations and Armageddon after tribulations? And don't believe the overinflated numbers of the world population of 7.9 billion people there. And I'm not saying Japheth cannot be saved. I'm saying it's going to be very difficult for Japheth to save himself through the tribulations, because Satan needs soldiers and will even use mind control and possession and witchcraft and magic and vaccines and etc., etc. And so in simple words, Armageddon will be between Africa and Eurasia there, because the Western world will fall by then and consolidate with the Eastern nations there. That's why if you read Albert Pike and if you study, the Israel Greater Israel Project and how Donald Trump has, been building a city over there in Gaza there, and so they and how the CIA is building a larger Pentagon in Lebanon there. So they're showing you right there and how they just opened the borders to America and allow all these Trojan horses to, bring America down from the end. The fall of America is a judgment from the Most High. It's also a desire, thing for even the enemy there, because, they want America to fall there, so that way they could consolidate to the Eastern world, where they will have 3.5 years to prepare for this world of Armageddon there. And so this is also behind the move to cryptocurrency, because America has the corporations of America has so much trillions upon trillions in debt, and so they seek to erase that through the nations by getting everybody to go to cryptocurrency there. And so Isaiah chapter 66 verse 4, I will also choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer, and when I spoke, they did not hear, but they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not here. And so hidden in the scriptures is the Exodus. The Exodus is a very important theme in the Old Testament and in the New Testament there. And also in the apocrypha books. And so 2 Ezra chapter 15 verses 1 through 14, it says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Yahuwah, and cause them to be written on paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredibility of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Yahuwah, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, thus saith the Yahuwah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in these things, in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Yahuwah, I will surely avenge avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from amongst them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that Elohim should bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with the fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Because the Most High is gonna pour his wrath out on all these Gentile nations, and he's only gonna protect one secret location on the earth and so again, even in the New Testament, you have to read the book of Revelations through the eyes of a second Exodus and not a rapture to heaven and so what I want to do here is just break down Revelations chapter 12 here for you. So Revelation chapter 12, I'm going to start with verses 1 through 6 here. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it were born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Elohim and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of Elohim, that they should feed her there for 1,260 days. So this part of Revelation chapter 12, it ties into 2nd Ezra chapter 13, the revelation of the Hamashiach on the earth right now. And then the mothership Zion comes after the multitude comes after him. And then he's taken to the throne on the mothership. Along with the Hamashiach is the 144,000 there. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 12 and start in verse 7 here, verses 7 through 14. And there was a war in heaven. So that's the first stage of the second Exodus. Is the Hamashiach and the first fruits, the 144,000. And then let's go to verse 7 in Revelation chapter 12. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. And he was cast out with the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Hamashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night. And they overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they love not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and a half a time from the face of the serpent. There. Now, another thing I want to just incorporate here, right here, is Revelation chapter 2. Revelation chapter 2, verses 8 through 11. There. And unto the angel of the church of Smyrna write, these things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not, but in the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil devil shall cast some of you in prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches, and he that overcometh shall not be hurt the second death. After this part in Revelation chapter 12, and also these 10 days of tribulation, this will lead to the harvest of the wheat into the wilderness. And then after the harvest of the wheat into the wilderness, you have Revelation chapter 12 verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim, and have the testimony of Yahusha Hamashiach. So you have to break down Revelation chapter 12 the same way you would break down 2nd Ezra chapter 13. And so for all those that teach that the entire body of Israelites will be gathered, or that all Gentiles will be raptured, are false prophets. The Exodus occurs in stages, starting with the Hamashiach and the first fruits, and then the wheat. But notice how the last verse in 17 in Revelation chapter 12, after the woman goes to the wilderness, the second Exodus, the dragon is going after those remnant left behind in tribulation, those that keep the commandments of the Most High, meaning some righteous Israelites, and have the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach, meaning the Gentiles there. So prepare yourself for what is and what will come to pass there. And so I just want to recap some points here, since we covered a lot here today. The Most High made a covenant with Abraham concerning the seed of Jacob, to give him the richest lands on the earth, and that is sub-Sahara Africa. The seed of Jacob remains dispersed until the Hamashiach appears in the end times to regather them. They are suffering divine punishment and curses, which will be removed as they are gathered out of their houses of bondage. This Exodus is the underlying theme of all scriptures. The Most High is going to fulfill his promise he swore to give the covenant in our forefathers there. This is the basis of salvation, and that's why salvation was written for Jacob through the Torah there. And Jacob will be saved first, and then the Gentiles. But Gentiles must endure the baptism of fire and the tribulations in order to be saved there. So I just want to read here a little bit from the Testament of Levi there, of the 12 patriarchs there. And so the Testament of Levi, therefore the Most High have heard thy prayer, to separate thee from iniquity, that thou should become a son, and a servant, and a minister of his presence. The light of knowledge shall thou light up in Jacob, and as the sun shall thou be to all the seed of Israel. And there shall be given to thee a blessing, and to all thy seed, until the Yahuwah shall visit all the Gentiles in his tender mercies forever. And therefore there have been given to thee counsel and understanding, that thou might instruct thy sons concerning this, because they that bless him shall be blessed, and they that curse him shall perish. There. And there again, I saw a vision as the former, after we had spent there 70 days. And I saw 7 men in white raiment, saying unto me, Arise, put on the robe of priesthood, and the crown of righteousness, and the breastplate of understanding, and the garment of truth, and the plate of faith, and the 3 turban on the head, and the ephod of prophecy. And they severally carried these things, and put them on me, and said unto me, From henceforth become a priest of the Yahuwah, thou and thy seed forever. And the first anointed me with holy oil, and gave me the staff of judgment. The second washed me with pure water, and fed me with bread and wine, even the most holy things, and clad me with a holy and glorious robe. The third clothed me with a linen vestment like an ephod. The fourth put round me like a girdle, like unto purple. The fifth gave me a branch of rich olive. The sixth placed a crown on my head. The seventh placed on my head a diadem of priesthood, and filled my hands with incense, that I might serve as a priest to the Yahuwah Elohim there. And they said unto me, Levi, thy seed shall be divided into 3 offices, for a sign of the glory of the Yahuwah who is to come. And the first portion shall be great, yea, greater than it shall none be. The second shall be in the priesthood, and the third shall be called by a new name, because a king king shall arise in Judah, and shall establish a new priesthood after the fashion of the Gentiles to all the Gentiles, and his presence is beloved as a prophet of the Most High, of the seed of Abraham, our father. There. So this is kind of like alluding to what you see here in Micah chapter 4. Micah chapter 4, verses 1 through 5 here. And it says, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Yahuwah shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. And many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Elohim, and the house of ELOHIM of Israel, Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Yahuwah from Jerusalem. And he shall judge amongst many people, and rebuke strong nations afar. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. But they shall sit every man under his vine, and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of Yahuwah of hosts has spoken it. And verse 5 is very key here. For all people will walk everyone in the name of his God, and we will walk in the name of the Yahuwah Elohim forever and ever. So that's talking about a distinction or a separation that's coming there between the Israelites and the Gentiles there. And I think that's what the Testament of Levi was alluding to, and that there would be three divisions in the priesthood to come there. The first one should be the greatest portion. That's to Israel. The second shall be the priesthood. And the third shall be called by a new name, which is going to be given to the Gentiles there. So that's just something to, do some, further thoughts and evaluations on. But also in this time of judgment, because the Gentile gods are the fallen angels, the fallen angels are also in judgment here as well there. So make sure you study and read the book of Enoch there. And so we have here Enoch chapter LV 3 through 4. And now when I have desired to take hold of them by the hand of the angels on the day of tribulation and pain of this, I will cause my chastisement and my wrath to abide upon them, saith the Yahuwah, the Elohim of spirits. Ye mighty kings who dwell on the earth, you shall have to behold my elect one, how he sits on the throne of glory, and judges Azazel and all his associates and all his hosts in the name of the Yahuwah of spirits there. And so I'll give you another one here is Enoch chapter LX II there. And thus the Yahuwah commanded the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who dwell on the earth, open your eyes and lift up your horns if you're able to recognize the elect one. And the Yahuwah spirit seated him on the throne of his glory, and the spirit of righteousness was poured upon him, and the word of his mouth slays all sinners, and all the unrighteous are destroyed from before his face. And there shall stand up in that day all the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who hold the earth, and they shall see and recognize how he sits on the throne of his glory, and righteousness is judged before him, and no lying word is spoken before him. Then shall pain come upon them as a woman in travail, and she has pain in bringing forth when her child enters the mouth of the womb, and she has pain in bringing forth. And one portion of them shall look on the other, and they shall be terrified, and they shall be downcast of countenance, and pain shall seize them when they shall see the Son of Man sitting on the throne of glory. And the kings and the mighty and all who possess the earth shall bless and glorify and extol him who rules over all, who was hidden. For from that beginning the Son of Man was hidden, and the Most High preserved him in the presence of his might, and revealed him to the elect. And the congregation of the elect and holy shall be sown, and all the elect shall stand before him on that day. there. And all the kings and all the mighty and exalted and those who rule on the earth shall fall down before him on their faces and worship and set their hope on that Son of Man and petition and supplicate for mercy at his hands. Nevertheless, the Yahuwah spirits will so press them that they shall hastily go forth from his presence, and their faces shall be filled with shame, and the darkness grow deeper on their faces. And he will deliver them to the angels for punishment, to execute vengeance on them, because they have oppressed his children and his elect. And they shall be a spectacle for the righteous and his elect. And they shall rejoice over them, because the wrath of the Yahuwah of spirits rested on them. And his sword is drunk with their blood. And the righteous and elect shall be saved on that day. And they shall never thenceforth see the face of the sinners and unrighteous. And the Yahuwah of spirits will abide over them. And with that Son of Man shall they eat and lie down and rise up forever and ever. And the righteous and elect ones shall have risen from the earth and ceased to be downcast countenance. And they shall have been clothed with garments of glory. Oh man, we're getting a audio isn't broadcasting finished. Live stream is started again. It's gonna have me started again. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but yeah, I get a message here. I have to finish audio disruption. I wonder if I press cancel. Okay. All right, then let me finish there. It was having an audio disruption there. So let me see. Okay, you guys are back. Okay, great. So Enoch also has a vision. He's talking about the throne of the Most High here, and so Enoch here in Enoch chapter 24, chapter 24, Enoch is talking about the throne that's coming, that's being established here on the earth here. And from this I went to another place on the earth, and he showed me a mountain range of fire which burnt day and night. And I went beyond it and saw 7 magnificent mountains, all different each from the other, and the stones thereof were magnificent, in a glorious appearance, and fair exterior. 3 towards the east, one founded on another, and 3 towards the south, one upon another, and deep rough ravines, no one of which joined with another. And the 7th mountain was in the midst of these, and it excelled them in height, resembling the seat of a throne, and fragrant trees encircled the throne. And amongst them was a tree such as I have never yet smelt, neither was any amongst them, nor were others like it. It had a fragrance beyond all fragrances, and it leaves and blooms and wood, whether not forever. And its fruit is beautiful and resembles a date, a palm. Then I said, how beautiful is this tree, how fragrant, and its leaves are fair, and it blooms very delightful in appearance. Then answered Michael, one of the holy and honored angels, who was with me and was their leader, and said, this high mountain which thou hast seen, whose summit is like the throne of Elohim, is his throne, where the holy great one, the Yahuwah of glory, the eternal king, will sit when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. And as for the fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring everything to its consummation forever. It shall be then given to the righteous and the holy. Its fruit shall be food to the elect. It shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of the Yahuwah, the eternal king. Then shall they rejoice with joy and be glad, and into the holy peace shall they enter. And its fragrance shall be in their bones, and they shall live a long life on the earth. And in their days sorrow nor plague or torment or calamity shall touch them. And then I bless the Yahuwah, the Elohim of glory, the eternal king, who have prepared such things for the righteous, and have created them and promised to get them there. So what is hidden is the second Exodus in scriptures here, and what the world doesn't want you to know is the second Exodus of Jacob there. the kingdom of heaven comes to the earth. And the kingdom of heaven will be established in sub-Sahara Africa, the biblical lands of Shem. Thus, Africa is rising above its oppressors, all the nations, to be the world superpower as it was in the beginning. And this is what your churches in the world is not teaching you, and thus they are deceiving the masses regarding what it means to be saved and what salvation is all about. So again, salvation is twofold. It's about saving from your enemies and being restored as a nation, because our nation was destroyed, and we were judged to be ruled over by our enemies and those that hate us there. So the first part of salvation is to be saved from our enemies and back into our own land, and the second form of salvation there is to be saved from sin. The second there. Thus, all those that are going around claiming that they are saved, sanctified, baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost, you have been lied to. You have been mistaught. Those that are looking for a rapture going to heaven, you have been mistaught and miseducated. Heaven is coming to the earth, and is going to be established with the covenant people, which means that it is going to be our lands which also means that because heaven is coming to the earth, and because it's coming by way of a second exodus of Jacob, it means that salvation is based on the Torah laws and the commandments which means that this is going to be the method and the methodology and the law of the land, that how the Most High is going to redeem the creation based upon your obedience to his laws and his commandments and these are teachings that are suppressed and hid from the world and this also explains how Jacob is going to be saved. This also explains how Gentiles can be saved and what's the purpose of each of us in the kingdom to come, because we all have a role to play there. And so we're reaching a time here when the great deception is coming to the world and this is the Greater Israel Project, the Abrahamic Accords, the two-state solution between Palestine and Israel. This is the strong delusion that the Most High is sending to the world. For those who would not take heed to His laws, His commandments, and His ways, and the voice of His messengers. Who have been spreading this truth to the earth. And so we've been lied to about the underlying theme of scriptures. We've been lied to about the teachings of salvation and what salvation is, and where heaven is going to be, and what kind of bodies we're going to have, and so on and so forth. But you have to study scriptures line upon line, precept upon precept, and out of the mouth of two or three witnesses is the word of the Most High declared. And so we are literally moments away from the commencement of our second exodus the second exodus of Jacob, which will be so much greater than the first exodus and the Most High, even in these end times and these final hours he says, my people perish because we reject knowledge and if you reject knowledge, he will reject you. He also says, turn the hearts of the children to the Father, lest he sends a curse to the world. So he's raised forth us, to be able to loose the seal, break the seals and scriptures and put the truth out here to the world. This is called your space and time of repentance and the window in the ark is closing and so you don't have time. It's really not on your side to literally repent and seek the kingdom of heaven, for the kingdom of heaven is literally at hand and so this is my encouragement to you all to stay into the word. Beware of all false prophets. Beware of all false prophets, all false teachers, and you have to sometimes use a lot of scriptures you can't have Isaiah confirm Isaiah or Paul confirm Paul, another book in Paul. No, you have to use the host of canon of scriptures to allow out of the mouth of two or three witnesses the word is declared and revealed to you, and you have to study everything through the lenses of the Torah, the covenant that the Most High High established with Jacob, that comes with blessings and curses, and the blessings and the curses have to come upon you before the eternal gathering takes a place there. And that's the reason why the Gentiles will have to experience the tribulation, because they never experienced it before there. They're receiving the blessings of the covenant. And that's the reason why Israel is going to be saved, because we are in the tribulations. We are currently at the end of our Jacob trouble there, where people are confusing this time of war as peace there. And we're really at war there, you know. And so this is a time for us to really awaken ourselves and really turn to the word there. And the other thing about that is that you're not going to be able to understand these scriptures if you are still walking out of line with the Most High. If you are still in disobedience, you know, you're not going to have the Ruach HaKodesh that's going to be able to bring you into all truth there. And understand that Esau knows that his time is limited there. And this is why Esau, with all the deceptions and all the strong delusions and all the distractions that's going on in the world, all the selling of fears and the fear mongering and all the witchcraft and sorcery, all the occult things that are going on here in the world to try to manifest evil while they're sacrificing and spilling blood and doing all these rituals and so on and so forth there. And then we have so much violence going on in the world, how it's targeting us. And notice how they're targeting the blue states, the Democrat states. That's where the states where the children of Jacob are, you know, along the eastern coast of America, as well as in the southern Bible Belt and the 33rd parallel, and the so-called Democratic states. So that's why, you know, you have the National Guard being sent out, you know, to these Democratic states, because the dragon is going after the woman right now under the guise of the migrant crisis, just as they're going after Congo and Sudan, hiding behind Palestine there. So, you know, there's a media blackout that's going on in Africa. I heard some news that Africa is not on the Google internet anymore. So, you know, they're separating them from the world. So this is the reason why we got to get this message out, because everything in America is wrapping up itself soon. The harvest is coming for Judah soon, and then everything ships to Africa. That's why Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says when they're done in Palestine, they're going to sub-Sahara Africa. That's why you see it says Jerusalem will be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles are fulfilled, and the outer curse of Jerusalem is given to the Gentiles for 3.5 years. There, this is what you see going on in South Africa right now, where the Ukraine and the Ukraine and the Israeli Jews, as well as a lot of Asians, have flooded and invaded South Africa. There. And South Africa is not a legal government; it's a corporation there, you know. And so, you know, this is why you see going on. So we can't reject the word of the Most High. The end was planned from the beginning, good, bad, and ugly. You know, it was all planned from the beginning. The scriptures are just a guiding post for us to know, you know, what to expect and what's going on and how to prepare. And this is a time when you have to prepare. You have to put on the full armor of the Most High. You have to change your thoughts and your actions, get rid of these spiritual marks of the beast, start focusing on things of the spirit and stop focusing on the things of the flesh. Stop chasing this money and this American dream, you know, your job and your career and all these things that are just, you know, not really benefiting your spirit right now there. And understand all that we're all, you know, surrounded by the enemy on all sides. The Most High is setting a table for us in the presence of our enemies for his name's sake. And though do you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you shall fear no evil, for the Elohim, the Most High, is with you there. So the Most High is a guide to them that keep his commandments there. So keep the commandments, even if it means persecution, even if it means tribulation. Fear not the one who can just take your life, but fear the one who could take your soul there. And that is the Most High Yah. And he is coming to save his people, and he's coming to judge the earth here. And so, thankful for my account being unsuspended there, and I'm glad that I was able to get this message out, discussing salvation, discussing the second Exodus, and what it's all about. And then once you understand this, then you can read the New Testament in the proper perspective. Then you can read the Book of Revelation in the proper perspective, and know that the earth is not going to be destroyed. The Gentile nations are going to be destroyed. Europe and the Western world there. And, the Most High is going to raise sub-Sahara Africa there. This is why you have mountains of gold and mountains of uranium and vibranium and, all these resources being unearthed all throughout sub-Sahara Africa, waiting for the children of that land to return back, where we're going to be pretty much getting double for our troubles there. And so, understand where heaven is going to be, understand what the end times are all about, understand what salvation is all about. And there's a great separation that's occurring here between the Most High is going to separate the wheat and the tares, the heathen Israelites from the righteous Israelites. He's also separating the righteous Gentiles from the heathen Gentiles there. And this is a time where I'm encouraging all followers of Torah, all followers of Yahusha Hamashiach, all followers of the Father, Elohim, to come and stand together as one people, one nation there, regardless if you're bloodline Israel or not. Stand together as one, because this is how the enemy is standing together against us there, and how the enemy is trying to seize our soul there, trying to cause further divisions, racial wars and conflicts, and all these type of things they label conspiracies there. So the system of the beast is ready to rise there. And so we need to know that the day of Yah is literally at our doorsteps here. And so most of my videos on Facebook have been removed. I have over 30 videos on my YouTube channel. They're very in-depth teachings on many different topics. I put the link in all the descriptions of my videos. It's also on my timeline on Facebook. So make sure you check my timelines daily and often. Make sure you turn on Facebook notifications when I go live, so you're notified. Share and repost these posts, make them go viral, interact, and so forth, so we can break the algorithms. I don't do this for likes. I don't do this for me, but I request those things just so we can break the algorithms and make this go viral in this final moments when people really are. There's gonna be a famine in hearing the word of the Most High there. So people are desperate for some water. And the least that we could do is give them some water to drink and be a light to the Gentiles there. And so, I'm thankful for that there. And as always, the Most High is going to keep us. He's going to, continue to, keep us for his name's sake there. And many of us are experiencing homelessness and poverty. And I'm saying, help your brethren out there. Help the poor, help the needy, help the elderly, help the disabled, help those that are struggling with addictions. The enemy got a lot of our people addicted on drugs and, addicted to sex and to porn and, all these different ways. Like, so be a light, be a light and understand the power of the heart. All battles need to be won and fought in the heart, and the heart can win all things there. If you have a heart and you're willing and you're able and you want to contribute to, my personal cause and to fighting homelessness, I put the CashApp link in the description. You can leave a donation if you're able or willing to give there. But just know that the Most High is going to keep us. He's going to keep his prophets. He's going to keep his people that he's raising up. It says many are called, but few are chosen there. And if you're chosen by the Most High, he is going to keep you. So have that fearless faith of Elijah there. And notice a distinction when you look at the so-called Old Testament prophets there. They had like an ascension event occur. When you go when you go to the New Testament, all these disciples and prophets and stuff, they all got killed, beheaded, all this stuff. And read Deuteronomy chapter 18 there. So we have to be able to test all things with the Torah and test everything with the Most High. So have discernment, pray, meditate, fast, fast, isolation, keep yourself set apart there, because the day of Yah is literally at our doorstep, and vengeance is mine, says the Yahuwah there. So, all those people in Chicago, wanting to go to war with the National Guard, and all these things are just foolish there. You're not going to be able to beat the enemy, with this type of weapons. They outnumber us, they militarize us, and so on and so forth. We have one Savior, and that is the Most High. He's not going to let you save yourself. And there's no salvation outside of him and his Torah and his Hamashiach there. So, we have to turn to the Father there, with our whole heart, our whole mind, body, and soul. And you have to not just be readers of the word, you have to believe what you're reading and know and be able to visualize it and see it coming to pass. Because everything that has been written is coming to pass there. So increase your faith there, and increase your walk with the Most High here during these times. Stay focused and stay diligent, and stay guard all women and children, and guard all your loved ones and start to prepare yourself for these days that we are living in, where wickedness is going to be worse than we can even imagine. And they got many movies about these things. So and the fallen angels are going to be used to judge the world there. So this is the time when you really have to know the word, and you have to have discernment, and you have to be able to have that faith to stand on the word, even if you lose everything. Study the book of Job. Look at my life there. Even if you have to lose it all. Many people are afraid to leave, the church. They're afraid to leave Masonry. They're afraid to leave the Greek letter organizations, because they know that they're going to be persecuted. They know they're going to be attacked. They know they're going to have everything taken away from them. Just like that, they could take millions away from you in just one day if they needed to there. So, and this is where you get a lot of celebrities who are, in the streets and homeless, and eventually they turn to drugs and so on and so forth. And suicide is on the rise right now, but you need to stand on the word. You cannot serve two masters. And so this is a time where you need to choose whom you will serve, the Most High Yah or Satan there. And this is a time where you need to stand. So thanks for tuning in here to this video. Make sure that you that you check my timeline, check all the posts, and I do encourage you all subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's only like 32 followers now, but I have over 30 videos on my YouTube page. There, very extensive videos there. So thanks for tuning in. That's all I have for you all here today. Each one teach one. Let's come together here as one nation, one love. And I want to say, start loving more. Start loving your brethren more, because that's one thing we have to work on there. Each one teach one. Let's come together as one. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless you all. Shalom. Have a great one.